Religiously, understand the 7 principles of hell. You understand the 7 demons within you. You understand the whole concept. There's a whole metaphysical concept. We ain't go over that, but again. But anyway, so.
You argue over his motives, trying to reconcile the contradictions. If he was truthful indeed, what does that say about the divine's needs? Lilith, she's in disguise, a woman who brings disguise to ruin. Her heart so cold, a mother, she's in control. Peter Pan was a fairy tale, or was it? When you look around, the majority of the men are childish, never want to grow up, being messy, causing chaos, living in the world of make-believe, and never taking responsibility. Lilith in disguise, a woman of deceit, causes mental lust and leads them to retreat. A woman who should be cast away in the world of shadows. She lives in the gray. Tinkerbell's light flickers in the darkness of their souls, searching for eternal youth and fun. But time marches on and responsibilities beacon. Will they ever learn to put away their toys and become men? Lost boys playing games, never wanting to face reality, flying through life with no direction or purpose, avoiding adulthood like it's a plague to be avoided, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Lilith, a mother she should be, but in her heart she's free. She abandons her duty, leaving her children in disarray. Lust in her game, to men she plays, she leads them astray, and they pay the price. Karma. I guess people don't understand that karma can go both ways. It just depends on how, your mind perceives it. Karma can go, real deep if you're not careful.
Bro, the missing component? Like, people think to feel. Again, you're working from the outside in. You have to work from the inside out. Right. The reason people can't manifest because they don't even believe they can have what they asking for. You got to match that frequency. And belief is a feeling, it's not a thought. Right? This is where people get all this mixed up. So if you feel to think, this is why we have dream boards and stuff like that, right? They want you to look at it and use those 5 senses. Any practitioner teaching you how to manifest things, what do they always say? Go and put yourself around the things you want. Why? So you can use those 5 senses so you can get a feeling of what the things are. So now you have a clearer picture of what the things are. So now people will try to manifest and look for the object they manifesting, but they not matching the frequency of it. So what happens is the universe gives you things to build you up to matching that frequency, to your own personal belief that you even deserve what you're asking for.
Yo, you spitting some gems right there, coach. But for those of y'all in the background, man, check this out, yo. They say karma's bad, but is it true? Depending on your actions, that's how she'll come for you. She's a friend to me, but an enemy in your head. Karma brings me peace, while in your mind she spreads dread. We blame God for the problems around us, turning a deaf ear to our own mistakes. We blame the devil for our misguided actions, lost in the shadows of regret and mistakes. Elders criticize, you rebel in return, cutting off potential, lessons unlearned. Butterflies trapped in cocoons, dreams adjourned. A cycle of disrespect, the flames still burn. Parents strive growth, children push away. Generations clash, never finding a way. In heaven in progress, the price we pay. Butterflies grounded, never to sway. The cycle repeats, a never-ending chain. Misunderstandings persist, causing pain. Lost potential lingers like a stain. Generations at odds, searching in vain. We're stuck in the cycle of pain and sorrow, hoping for a better tomorrow. Black lives matter, white lives matter too. It's time to unite and break through. I'm just saying, it's 2025, but it feels like it's 1942. Black lives matter, white lives matter. That's the plea. Blaming the white man for all the hate that we see. Yet we're still killing our own kin. Can't break free. Struggling to find peace in this chaotic scene. Racism and violence staring at the seams, pointing fingers while we continue to demean. Looking ahead with hope in our hearts, learning from our past mistakes, making new start hard. Black or white, it's time for a fresh start. We're quick to point fingers at others, but in reality, it's ourselves that we need. The power to change lies within us. Why blame others when we can be our own lead? Just a little food for thought.
But they tricked you. They done told you there's something outside you coming into you. That's how they get you to accept God is outside you. That's that old concept. God knows it's in you. That's why when you have a deep desire, things come true. When you get that feeling of God your way. Because that's true. But it's not outside of you. It's inside. They only want you to know what's inside. Because there's a group of people, it's not inside of you. They have to get you to participate and give that energy away so they can have those experiences. And that's what most people do. By worshiping something outside themselves. You're giving that energy away. I should have did this on the version.
In the balance of right and wrong, karma scales tip where they belong. She rewards my deeds with serenity, but in your thoughts, she breathes enmity. What you sow, you shall reap. Karma's justice runs deep. I find solace in her embrace, while she hunts you with no grace. And the wrong generation lost in time's illusion. God's mixed up in my mother's womb, a cosmic confusion. Feeling out of place like a puzzle piece misplaced. Searching for my purpose in this unfamiliar space. Born into a world that doesn't quite fit. A old soul trapped in a modern day script. Yearning for simplicity, longing for connection. In a fast-paced world of constant rejection, I navigate this life with an ancient soul's gaze. Struggling to find my path in these chaotic days. Perhaps God had a plan beyond what I can see, to challenge me to grow and set my spirit free.
But they done tricked you. They done told you it's something outside you coming into you. That's how they get you to accept God is outside you. That's that old concept. God knows it's in you. That's why when you have a deep desire, things come true. When you get that feeling of God made away. Because that's true. But it's not outside of you. It's inside. They don't want you to know it's inside. Because there's a group of people, it's not inside of them. They have to get you to participate and give that energy away so they can have those experiences. And that's what most people do by worshiping something outside themselves. You're giving that energy away.
Get you a word.
I should have did this on the word.
Prayers out for a... Yeah, we living in a world where the rules don't apply. They say we gotta follow, but we ready to fly. The system got us boxed in, trying to keep us small. But we rise like the phoenix, we ain't scared to brawl. They feeding us lies, but we see through the smoke. We're the voice of the people, we're ready to provoke. They want us to divide, but we're stronger as one. Breaking chains, taking names, yeah, we getting it done. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. It's in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear, together we rise. Let them know we're here, riders ignite. In the world of division, they showed us how to share, but the weight of our sorrows, they never taught us to bear. We spit our joys and laughter, but the pain remained untold. A burden we carry alone, a story left untold. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. He lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. We learned to divide our dreams and multiply our fears, but the ache in our hearts only grew in passing years. They gave us all the answers, except how to heal. The scars that run so deep, wounds that time can't seal. Yeah, they taught us how to share, but only the good. Smiles and laughter like we understood, but deep down inside, there's a storm we hide. Pain in our hearts, we're just trying to ride. Put on a mask, yeah, we play the part, but nobody sees the cracks in the hearts. We share our dreams, the highs and the lows, but when it comes to hurt, we just close the doors. We share the fun times, deflect the pain, laughing in the sunshine, dancing in the rain, but the shadows linger, they creep and they crawl, breaking us down, but we don't share it all. We got hate in our hearts, but we get concealed, taught to share the joy, but wounds, they stay unhealed. They say love was easy to divide, but the heartache never subsides. We tried to split everything into two, but the pain lingers strong and true. Shared our dreams, divided our fears, but the sorrow remained through the years. No matter how we tried to let go, the weight of our suffering continued to grow. Now we're apart trying to heal, but some wounds are too deep to conceal. They said splitting up will set us free, yet the pain lingers in you and me. In a world where rules are set in stone, the system's grip tightens, we're not alone. Bound by chains of injustice greed. Against the odds, we fight to be free. Mighty forces try to keep us down, but our spirits rise, refusing to drown. Defying norms, breaking through the mold. In this battle of wills, our story is told. As the clash continues day by day, we stand united, come what may. For in this world where rules don't apply, our strength and unity will never die. They tried to silence our dreams, but we're loud and clear. With every step forward, conquering fear. They can't hold us back. We're the fire and the flame in this battle for freedom. We're all in the game. They say it's just a game, but we're playing for keeps. With the strength of the many, we're shattered elites. No more puppets on strings, we're cutting the ties. With our eyes on the prize, we're reaching for the skies. So let's stand together, let's break down the walls. In this fight for our future, we'll answer the calls. From the ashes, we'll rise like a storm. Riders ignite, it's us versus the system, and we're ready to fight. They built the walls, but we're digging tunnels. With every step we take, we're shaking the bundles. From the streets to the courts, we're raising our voice. In a world full of noise, we're making the choice. They want to keep us blind, but we see the light. Knowledge is power, and we're ready to fight. From the corners of the city to the halls of the state, where the heartbeat of the struggle can't afford to wait. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. This in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. Now we stand here broken, searching for some light, hoping for a way out of this never-ending night. But through it all, we find strength in each other's embrace. Together we'll face tomorrow and find solace in this space. They say don't bring that drama, keep it all light. But every night I'm fighting these demons in sight. Whispers in my mind, yeah, they echo when they shout. While I'm smiling on the surface, I'm breaking without. We're sharing the laughter, but what's underneath? A battlefield of sorrow, a war with no peace. We're warriors in silence, but nobody knows how the pain that we carry just grows and it grows. In a world of lessons learned, they taught us how to stand and burn. For the scars we hide deep inside of the ones that never subside. We followed all the rules they made, but the emptiness never fades. Their wounds like knives, cutting through even wounds that always grew. They painted pictures of success, but couldn't fix what's left of us. Now we're left to bear the strain of the pain that lingers, never wanes. It's us versus the system. We're breaking the mold. It's in the air. Yeah, we're taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise. Let them know we're here. Riders ignite. So remember this moment. Remember this face. Remember this sound. We're the voice of the future, and we won't back down. In the face of oppression, we'll stand up tall. It's us versus the system, and united we'll fall. Riders show how we unite.
All right, y'all. Listen, man. Grab all the toxicity, all the toxic people in your life. All right. Throw them out the window and Kobe them into a trash can. All right. Forget about them like yesterday's newspaper. That's what they is. Irrelevant. All right. Let me take a minute and let me welcome all of y'all to the Writers for Life brings you the Let's Talk About It podcast. All right. Listen, you know, when it comes to the podcast, we talk about it all. All right. So tonight, we're not here to whisper, all right? We're here to roar, all right? We're here to shine a light on the shadows that society keeps sweeping under the rug, all right? From daycares that betray trust to courts that bend for privilege, to predators who hide behind excuses. Every story we've touched proves one thing, all right? Silence is complicity, and complicity kills, all right? And it's crazy though, right? Because you know, when you're alone, it is when you figure out so many things. But one thing is being alone and figuring it out, and another thing is staying quiet, right, and being complicit to a lot of things, right? Now, this is an open panel. Any of my normal subscribers want to, you know, come up, have a conversation with a shorty, just ask her to drop the link. I will drop the link. All right. For those of y'all that get offended very easily, we're not here to babysit no one's ego. If what I say, all right, if anybody that comes up says anything that offends you, if anybody in the chat says anything to offend anybody and you feel some type of way, please exit stage left. All right. Once again, I'm not babysitting no one's ego. And before we get this live started, all right, let me take a minute, all right. And I want to put a poem out there, all right, and it goes like this. Faced my demons alone, no one to guide me. Rebuilt myself from the ground up, brick by brick, you'll see. No need for validation or a crowd to cheer. I stand tall on my own, overcoming fear. Silent battles fought in the dead of night, strength rising within me, shining bright. No applause necessary for my victory dance. I'm the architect of my own second chance. All right. Through the darkness and pain, I found my way, carving out a path where shadows once held sway. No spotlight needed. No spotlight needed to illuminate my worth. I've unearthed resilience from deep within the earth. So here I stand, a warrior reborn, no longer defined by the past that was torn. Validation comes from within, not from without. I faced my demons alone. Hear me roar and shout. All right. A lot of us, all right. Listen, people don't seem to understand that a lot of us, all right, fight our demons, our own demons in the same damn hell. All right. There are so many ways to overcome the things that we go through in life. All right. Listen, we live in a world where children are, how can I say, cornered in fear. Survivors are laughed at. Predators are protected and justice is negotiated like a business deal. And I'm here to say enough, all right? Enough of the, how can I say, word salad, enough of the loopholes, enough of the cover ups, because every time we excuse violence, we build caskets for innocence, and caskets are not what our children need, all right? They're not. All right, so once again, hear me. Hear me clearly. Caskets are not what our children, our families, and our communities deserve. So let me drop some truth, all right? The world is the world is a dangerous place, all right? Not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. You know who said that? Albert Einstein. All right. Tonight we refuse to look Tonight we refuse to look on, all right? Tonight we refuse to do nothing. Tonight we refuse to let predators, how can I say, negligent caregivers, corrupt judges, or biased systems to find justice for us. This life is about accountability. It's about awareness. It's about demanding change. It's about saying out loud what too many people whisper in private, because justice doesn't bend on its own, all right? It bends when we demand it, when we rise, when we refuse to be silent, all right? And let me just say this, all right? I'm gonna put it like this. I'm gonna end this opening with a power, all right? Still I rise, Maya Angelou, all right? Maya Angelou. And we rise not just for ourselves, but for every child who deserves safety, for every survivor who deserves healing, for every community that deserves truth. All right. We rise raw, uncut, bold, and poetic. All right. We rise to roast the failures, to expose the hypocrisy. All right. To demand change. And we rise together because protecting human dignity is not optional. All right. It is survival. Listen, we're going to be reviewing and reacting to a few things. All right. Okay, I gotta take off what's in the back. Alright, give me 1 second while I set this video. Ooh. And like I said earlier, alright, we have random topics, alright, so it's a little mixed up between the daycares, the schools, and stuff that's happening. Alright, mostly y'all know that this channel is about bullying, exposing teachers, and much more. But listen, before I get started on all this, alright, I want to say this, right? Like, I don't know, have y'all ever noticed this, right? Like, have y'all ever noticed how the same people who scream, we care about the community, are the first ones to ghost it when accountability shows up? All right, they'll throw slogans on a t shirt, hashtags on a post, but when it's time to stand in the mud with the people, they vanish, all right, like smoke. I'm trying to, all right, give me 1 second, because my StreamYard got me a little confused. All right. But let me say this, right? That's not a community. That's a cosplay. All right. We live in a world where manipulation is dressed up as leadership, where projection gets passed off as wisdom, and where silence is sold as peace. But silence, right, in the face of injustice is complicity. Don't let anybody gaslight you into thinking your voice is too much. All right. Boldness is survival and rawness is truth. And listen, let me say just this real quick, all right? Like folks will tell you to heal while they're the ones breaking you, all right? They'll preach family values while weaponizing shame against their own blood, all right? They'll say we are in this together while how can I say hoarding resources like dragons on a pile of gold. That's not unity, all right? That's a how can I say that's greed with a PR team. But here's the flip side, all right? The light in the rubble, the wound in the place where the light enters you, all right? Rumi. Every scar you carry is proof you survived the fire. Every boundary set is proof you refuse to burn again, all right? And every time you speak raw truth, you give someone else permission to stop swallowing lies. So let's be clear. All right. Awareness isn't polite. It's not soft. It's not, how can I say, a Hallmark card. Awareness is, how can I say, a roast. It calls out the, how can I say, the rot. All right. It calls out the rot so the roots can breathe. Awareness is poetry. It turns pain into rhythm, rhythm into movement, movement into legacy. All right. And if you're listening right now, thinking, all right, but what if people don't like my truth? Remember this. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. All right. We talk about him so much, MLK Jr. All right. So say this. All right. Say this. I say this, right? I say this with love and fire. Stop letting manipulators rent space in your head. Stop letting projection poison your reflection. And stop letting silence choke your legacy. You're not here to be palatable. All right. You're here to be powerful because the real ones, all right, how can I say this? The real truth is this, all right? The system fears you. The system fears your clarity more than your chaos, all right? They want you confused, ashamed, and quiet. But you're the glitch, all right, in their matrix. You're the reminder that survival can be turned into strategy and strategy into a movement. So let's end what I'm about to say with this, all right? And remember, Maya Angelou, all right? Still I rise, and not just rise, all right? We rise roasting, we rise raw, we rise uncut, we rise bold, we rise poetic, and we rise together. That's what we need to do, all right? And with that being said, I want to get started with this, with my first topic, all right? And it's about a daycare, all right? So let's talk about it because this isn't just about one school. This is happening across America. All right. The administrators sweep everything under the rug like dust don't turn into mold. They act like silence is a solution, but silence is just complicity with better lightning. All right. Why are elementary school teachers and students becoming so violent? All right. Because discipline got stripped out, accountability got tossed aside, and now chaos is running the hallways like it pays rent. Teachers are quitting, parents are crying, and kids are carrying trauma, all right, like backpacks heavier than their books. Real shit. Give me 1 second. I want to put this poll in the chat. Where did I put the poll at? All right, here we go. Do you believe do you believe that school administration sweep too much under the rug instead of addressing violence heads on? All right. So somebody sent me this video. Where's my damn chat at? Here we go. We got trolls in this bitch. Here we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna put the poll down there for y'all real quick. All right, and then we're gonna get started. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'm gonna show y'all this video. All right, and I want to give a big shout out to all those that send me these videos on my DM. I really appreciate y'all. When I get the chance, I end up doing these lives. I still got to do a part two. All right, of the Chicago mom that got jumped by the I'm not sure if the elementary schools or student or what, but the Chicago mom that got jumped with her two kids next to her. Hey, come on, man. Here we go. Nope, nope, nope. My description is too long. Let me see. Ah. All right, so I'm gonna have to take off head on. The description was too long. All right, so I started a poll. Is in the chat for anybody that wishes to, There we go. All right, so the poll is down below for anybody that wishes to, check it out and put a vote in. All right. So listen, right? They tell us nothing could be done, but that's a lie. And what I mean by they tell us nothing could be done, and I'm talking about the school administration. All right. For those of you that's tuning in, if anybody's tuning in, we're talking about the schools right now, the school policy, school administrations, and much more. All right. They listen. They tell us that nothing could be done, but that's like I said, a lie dressed up in bureaucracy. They say we couldn't get cameras in schools, but little by little, listen, we're doing it. All right. And I want to say this. All right. It's crazy because I was a parent that was told from different people. Man, I was sent all over the place. This is why we got this petition out here in Philadelphia. Little by little, all right, we're getting these cameras put in. So I appreciate the parents that got their own petition, those that have signed these petitions and are helping us come together and get these deeper backgrounds for the teachers, getting the cameras in there, and much more. All right. But what was crazy is I was told we couldn't do none of this. And little by little, listen, all of that is getting done. All right. And the crazy part is, right, they said that deeper background checks and more security were too much. But little by little, we're pushing it through. All right. That's the power of persistence. That's the power of parents linking up, demanding what's needed, not, how can I say, begging for scraps. A lot of people think that we cannot come, how can I say, demand these changes within these schools, all right, or change any policy. See, the thing is that we're doing too much of this amongst each other, all right, trying to debate this, trying to debate that, instead of actually, all right, making that walk, taking that ride to the town hall and disputing, all right, making your demand what it is that you want changed within these schools. And shout out to the ones that are actually doing it. All right. But it is a lot going on within these schools. In my description box down below, all right, if those of y'all take the time to look, I have a petition, all right, on change.org so that we can get cameras into these schools, deeper backgrounds. All right, and this is a brand new petition that we got done within this year. So I appreciate those. I think it's this year or last year, I'm not sure. But I appreciate those that have been signing it. All right. I really appreciate that. We need more signatures. All right. We need more parents to come together because listen, a lot of people is done begging for scraps. And I appreciate those that listen, take the time to hear what's coming out of our mouths, all right, and unite with us to make that difference. Listen, town halls are not optional anymore, all right? No matter where you live, you've got one. And I think they've always been around, all right? If you don't show up, don't be surprised when the system keeps failing your kids because awareness without action is just performance, and performance without accountability is just theater, all right? Did somebody else come into the chat? Gay out of Sage. 100% the school administrations are corrupt as hell. Reminds me of middle school when I was jumped and left with a severe concussion. The school administration and policies refuse to do anything about it. And that's a fact. And that's why I'm saying that more of us need to come together. Facts, facts, facts. I appreciate the comment. All right, Gaya. I'm hoping that I'm saying your name right. All right. Um, Wait, you're not popping up on my phone. I gotta look back on my stream here real quick. All right. Yeah, I think I'm saying it right. Gay the Sage. All right. Appreciate the comment. But listen, never doubt that a smaller group thoughtful. How can I say? Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. All right, indeed. It's the only thing that ever has. All right. And you know who said that? Margaret Mead. All right. That's us. That's parents linking arms, refusing to let schools become battleground. All right. And here's another one. All right. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral conflict. MLK Jr. All right. How can I say this? Neutrality, all right, is not an option. When kids are bleeding emotionally in classrooms, neutrality is cowardice, all right? Neutrality. I hope I'm saying it right. Shit. So I say this, all right? Stop letting administrators sweep your child's pain under the rug. Stop letting budget cuts be the excuse for broken safety. Stop letting silence be the soundtrack of your community, all right? You're the town hall. You are the cameras. You are the accountability. Because the truth is, they fear organized parents more than they fear lawsuits, all right? They fear unity more than they fear exposure. And they fear awareness more than they fear chaos. All right. Like, little by little, more parents coming together, we're going to get something done. All right. Like, I'm not going to talk much, but listen, I want y'all to take a look at this. I want to give a shout out to those that, like I said, once again, DM me these videos. All right. We can review and we can react to them. How the heck do I get? Here we go. Boom. I was like, how in the world do I get to the video? Like, this whole StreamYard John changed on me, man. And I appreciate those that are having patience with a shorty. All right. StreamYard completely did change on me. I appreciate y'all. But let's take a look at this video. All right. And it's called, like I said, Why Are Elementary School Teachers and Students Becoming So Violent? All right. Now, let's listen to what they got to say. I saw the first, like, minute of this, John. Let me see. Yep. This was the first minute. And it starts off with the Chicago mom. All right. So I'm guessing that they're putting this as an example of, the students being violent and why teachers are quitting. I'm not so sure. Like I said, I watched a minute of this. We're gonna watch the rest of the 5 minutes of this video together. All right. And y'all gonna get my raw reaction to this. Like, something's gotta get done. And I feel as though that the only way that this can get done is more parents unite, come together. I mean, I know that a lot of people got a lot going on, but when it comes to your kids, shit should be put on pause. But let's get this John started.
It's hard to watch children circled a mother, then pinned her against a fence. Dragging the mother and her son to the ground, continuously beating them.
These children don't have to live with this for the rest of their lives. And the children are our future, so it's not fair.
Police say it started when the 33-year-old mother, her young son, and daughter were walking near 106 and Bensley in the South Deering neighborhood. A group of kids then started chasing after them, calling them names and taunting them. Both the mother and son were beaten so badly they were taken to a hospital. Word of the attack spread quickly on social media, causing outrage among many parents. One day after the attack, demonstrators showed up at Orville T. Bright Elementary School after some posted on social media threatening to harm the children behind the attack. Several police officers showed up blocking the entrance of the school to protect kids inside. Shanice Davis lives in the neighborhood and says she recognizes the attackers.
This is not the first time the kids have done this. Just talk around the streets that these kids have pretty much been raising themselves and they have not been held accountable. They have vandalized cars. They have harassed adults and children.
To know and to find out even now that other families are affected by this. We mean families out here that their children been bullied and been beat on.
So where are the parents to these kids? This is what I'm saying. Some of these kids are like too young to even be held accountable. So my thing is, this is where all right, as a parent, where were you? And people need to stop putting fear in, like, let me put it like this. People need to stop listening to other people, man. Chastise and discipline your kid. As long as you're not abusing, mistreating your child, it is time to start bringing back the discipline into the homes. All right. Listen, there's a video on here. I think I'm not sure if it's on this playlist that I got that I'm going to do today, but there's a video that I'm going to review and react with y'all. All right, a parent beats their child over 20 times, and I think it was a school teacher. Yeah, I think it's going to be on this list because if it's a school teacher, we're going to talk about it. She was a teacher. I think she overdid it. This was caught on camera. All right, and she got arrested for that. Like, that's abuse. They say that the video was too, how can I say, too violent to even show. But it's like, damn, one thing is disciplining your kid and another one is abusing. And that's why I feel as though there needs to be deeper backgrounds on these social workers too. Because these goddamn CPS, DHS, however you want to call them, all right, will sit here and fuck around with a single mom or a single dad that's doing their very best to, keep their child clean house and everything, all right? But they, I mean, listen. Everybody hits rock bottom at one point, but they still pick themselves up. My thing is that these people are doing what they got to do. All right, going through the right networks and programs. While these motherfucking social workers, all right, are ignoring the kids, all right, that these parents neglect and abuse. Hey, but y'all can take it however y'all want to take it. Facts. So the discipline has to start from home, man. It starts from home, and I don't get tired of saying it.
Council member Joseph Williams was inside talking with the principal, the mother, and CPS administration.
Accountability is going to be key, because if this has been going on, we need to make sure that principal be held accountable for her actions as well. This should have been documented. Parents should have been called to the school, and we got to make sure all around there is some type of accountability that's happened here.
Surveillance video shows a teacher slamming the boy to the ground inside the school on October 30th. The 5-year-old's mother, Guadalupe Rodriguez, tells me her son has
Damn,
autism.
this John went right into another video. But that's a fact. All right. Listen, the school and everybody needs to be held accountable in this situation where the 33-year-old Chicago mother with her 2 children got jumped. All right. Too much of it. Listen, I've been speaking on this for years. All right. Those that told me, oh, Ray, you ain't going to be able to do nothing. Guess what? We doing it. So for those of y'all that say, oh, you can't do it, we doing it. Tell me I can't. We can't, man.
The 5-year-old's mother, Guadalupe.
Wait, why they went
around? There is some type of accountability that's happened here.
Surveillance video shows a teacher slamming the boy to the ground inside school on October. 5-year-old's mother, Guadalupe Rodriguez, tells me her son has autism and is nonverbal.
This is trauma that my son and I will carry forever.
What went through your head when you saw that video?
Well, I'm being completely honest. I dropped to my knees and cried because I didn't expect
I'm
to
a little confused. So what does this video and the first video? I think it's 2 different type of situations. This is where a teacher is, I guess, being abusive towards the student. The first one, the students were acting buck wild. Why would a teacher, I mean, yeah, they was in the wrong, obviously fire them, but get mad because they was in the wrong? I mean, let's listen.
That I wasn't expecting to see my son be treated in such manner.
Rodriguez says her son came home limping on the day of the incident.
So I immediately knew something was wrong. I took him to the urgent care, and sure enough, he had a fracture and a sprained ankle.
She wanted answers, so the next day she went to Wild Peach Elementary demanding the principal open an investigation. That's when she saw the video and asked for more. Footage from less than an hour before shows the same teacher dropping Rodriguez's son, and another video afterward shows a different teacher kicking the boy's hurt ankle, trying to get him to walk.
My son was showing signs of distress, and not one teacher stopped to assess my son. Nobody cared.
Columbia Brazoria ISD tells KHOU 11 that the 2 teachers involved were fired.
Are you relieved that?
Are these school boards hiring teachers with, I don't know, with some type of background where, I don't know. I'm going to put it like this. I feel as though that some of these teachers shouldn't be teachers. They don't have the patience, all right, to deal with kids like this. Why are they in this field? I don't know. I feel as though that some of these teachers look at this job field as an easy pay. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Why? Because they say the teachers are underpaid. And I feel as though they are. So if this is not the field for you, why are you in it? Especially if you're not getting paid enough for it.
That they've both been let go?
Well, part of me is relieved, but I'm not satisfied with the way they're handling this at all. Neither of them are behind bars. They're still walking free.
This letter from Wild Peach Elementary states that CBISD notified the Texas Education Agency about what happened and that the school district's police department reported the incident to the Brazoria County District Attorney's Office.
The first grade teacher shot by her 6-year-old student at a Virginia elementary school took the stand Thursday in her civil trial against a former assistant principal, Ebony Parker, who's being sued for $40 million. Attorneys for Abby Joyner called an expert witness on school administration who said Parker was warned at least 4 times and had a duty to act.
Take action. Get the kid secured. Search, call law enforcement, alert the principal. There are many things that needed to be done, and none of those were done at that time.
The defense said the teachers should have taken action. They were the first responders. The 2023 shooting left Joyner.
Wait, did y'all just skip into a whole nother? Yeah, I think they're about to skip into a whole nother case. But I agree. All right, the teacher should have took action. Let me tell y'all something, all right? If y'all been following me for a while, y'all know that, these topics, I'm passionate about it because I've experienced them personally, all right? I didn't, I don't have a petition floating around here for no reason. I'm not sitting here talking to politicians for no reason. I'm not trying to get a community center started for no reason, all right? There's a reason why I'm doing everything that I am doing, and it's to help the youth, all right? My son was done wrong by the school district of Philadelphia. Right? I was a parent that they sent around in loopholes to try to get my child help. All right. And in that process, they did my child dirty. All right. My son was about to get charged for a felony. Right? Like, I had to sit here and sue the school district of Philadelphia. I was willing to give everything up. I was willing to stay homeless just to find a lawyer to help me out. All right. And I found a good one. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, I really fought hard. They was telling me, oh, it's just, give your son's rights up. No. Even though my son is 19 years old today, he's autistic, a little hard-headed. Guess what? I'm glad I didn't do that. All right. Even though he didn't take the path I was hoping for him to take. All right. He's taking his own path. You see where I'm coming from? Right now, he's, living on his own, paying rent. Sometimes he has a little setback, all right? Sometimes he knocks on the door, Mom, I need to stay here, all right? And regardless of anything, that's my son. Yes, baby boy, you got a bed to stay in, a roof to, stay in until you can get back on your feet. Boom. It don't matter if he has to do it 5-6 times a year, all right? I'm his mother. You see where I'm coming from? And listen, if I would have gave up his rights, I think my son would have been, I don't know, not here today. You see where I'm coming from? Because he stood up because he was getting bullied. And in the process of him dealing with a lot of stuff going on home, his father passing away, it was just so much, right? Like, I wasn't going to sit here and let the system just take my son, all right? I wasn't. For what? Because he defended himself? I'm going through the same thing with my daughter right now. Listen, the school that she's in, great staff. They got some good staff, but kind of like bump heads with this one counselor, and then this principal is kind of like, I don't know, like, I feel as though, like, let me be nice because I know they'll see these videos. So Racheal, so, keep them thoughts in your head. But boy, sometimes I think some principals are stupid. You know what? That's the most I'm gonna say. Listen, it's hard to keep my mouth shut. Like, I gotta let these thoughts out. Like, people don't understand, because it's kind of like, how is you a principal when you can't comprehend what a parent is telling you? You see, and I'm not saying that my child is innocent, like perfect or nothing like that. What I'm saying is, right, what I'm saying when I say innocent, and what I'm saying is she's not a little, angel with a little halo in her head, all right? Like, all these kids is like hyper wild. You see where I'm coming from? Sometimes they do a little talking back. But one thing I can sit here and say is, right, my child tells me everything that happens. And if I have to constantly come to this school, right, time after time to try to get a principal to understand, look, listen, you need to get some, you need to get some older staff. They finally changed it this year. Now they got adults in the, because before it was, how can I say, what do you call them? Like volunteers? And there was no older than 18, 19 years old, that they had them in the cafeteria watching the kids. And boy, when I tell you last year, it was a lot of issues. But this year, they finally got like counselors and stuff. But what is y'all doing? What, y'all on your phones? You see where I'm coming from? That y'all miss when a student starts something, but y'all catch when the victim defends themselves. It's like it doesn't matter what the situation is. You see where I'm coming from? Like the last time I had to threaten the principal. Like I don't give a fuck what it is, right? If my child is sitting here explaining to you, telling you this is the reason why I had to defend myself, tell me why. Why? Tell me why the bully, right? That either harassed, hurt, or did something to my child isn't in this office right now. And why isn't the parent here so that we could all have like a conference, talk about what's going on. What are the consequences behind the actions? You see where I'm coming from? Like, that's why I got on the live one day and I said, yo, I'm getting tired. Like, these little boys, I don't know what some of these moms are doing, some of these dads are doing, but y'all are not raising boys. Y'all are raising straight up little fucking girls. All right? It's fucked up that I gotta say it. It's messed up that I gotta say it like that. But little boys this high, gossiping like little girls, comparing themselves to little girls, and putting hands on little girls for no reason. You see where I'm coming from? This shit is worse than when I was in school. Way worse. Right? And I broke that shit down on that live. All right. Like for those of y'all that missed it, go catch the replays because I'm not going to repeat myself. All right. What I think needs to be done is changes. And they're not going to get done until more parents get involved. Real shit. But let's get back to this video. Oh, my bad. Let me see this comment real quick. I feel you. I am advocating for others because of the hell I have gone through in life. I don't want to help keep the bullshit cycles of history continue back. I mean, real shit. That's some facts right there. I appreciate you, man, for the comment show. Man, guys, don't be scared to leave y'all opinions down below, man. Y'all more than welcome to have a conversation with a shorty, all right? Listen, I'm going to talk back, all right? And for those of y'all that get easily, offended and their egos bruised, if what I'm saying or anybody in the chat, is saying offends you, I suggest y'all exit left, all right? But let's continue. Like I said, at the end of the day, these policies need to be changed.
Werner with gunshot wounds to her hand and chest. Werner's lawyers introduced body camera footage and police scene photographs into evidence Wednesday.
I thought I had died. What did you see right before you were shot that day on January 6, 2023? The look on the student's face is a large memory that I have.
Werner's attorneys calling to the stand a psychiatrist who testified Werner has suffered post-traumatic stress disorder.
She has everyday reminders, permanent physical scars, reminding her of that particular day.
The trial could set a precedent, holding school officials accountable for a school shooting. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Wow, it's just absolutely just gut-wrenching. It's appalling.
Mayor Brandon Johnson following a day of high emotion at this far Southside school.
I just think that it's an outrage, and I just feel
This
like
is Chicago
we gotta
again?
do better as parents, maybe community, maybe as a school, and this could have been prevented.
The Monday afternoon attack happened down the street from Orville T. Bright Elementary as a 33-year-old mother was walking home with her children, including her 9-year-old son, who relatives say has long been the victim of bullying. Video shared tens of thousands of times on Facebook shows a woman being punched before the assault turns even more violent. We blurred the faces of those involved because they're minors and no charges have been filed. We've frozen the video here because it's so graphic.
By far the most difficult video that I've ever watched. The pain and the suffering that family endured was quite horrific.
That's crazy. Kids is fighting adults. Where's the parents at? Why are they being accountable for it?
Top city officials, along with representatives from CPS and CHA, meeting at the school with that injured mother, who's now being relocated along with her family.
Of course, we want to make sure that there's accountability, but there's also something very disturbing about children carrying out such a violent act. There's clearly a need for some intervention there as well.
It's deeply concerning.
So what they gonna do? Right? The question is what they gonna do. Listen, unless we come together, all right, and change the policies, nothing is going to change. All right, don't act surprised when the same questions keep coming up year after year. Because if we don't move, if we don't demand, if we don't organize, we'll still be sitting here asking the same stupid question 2 years from now. All right, why are our kids suffering? It's a dumb question. All right, we know why our kids are suffering. Culture within their environment is broken. Parents are spending enough time, all right? They're not spending enough time guiding their kids to become, how can I say, better people. Role models are scarce. And instead of wisdom, we've got TikTok trends teaching kids how to risk their lives for likes, all right? Let me put it like this. Dangerous stunts, harmful challenges, evil influences, all right, all being fed to children who should be learning how to dream and how to not how to self-destruct, all right? Listen, let's be clear, all right? Let's talk about this nonsense, all right? A teddy bear with an SI chat, all right? I think it's like that. I'm not sure if it's called C or SL, all right? Really though? Like, kids should be using their imaginations to talk to a bear. All right, not being told some twisted algorithm to search, all right, for pills. My bad, excuse me, for pills or line match. That's not, how can I say, innovation. My bad. Like, that's sabotage. All right, that's adults failing children in real time. We can't keep pretending this is just the times we live in. No, this is neglect dressed up as progress. This is distraction sold as entertainment. This is failure disguised as technology, and if we don't call it out, we're complicit. All right, but let me shine some light in this. All right, children are the world's most valuable resource. All right, and it's best hope for the future. John F. Kennedy, right? If that's true, right, and it is, then why are we letting systems, apps, and lazy adults poison that hope? Am I asking the wrong questions? People are still going to ignore. They're going to scroll by. They're not going to listen. They might hear, but they won't listen. All right? So I'm going to need parents. Listen. I want y'all to really listen. All right? Town halls are not optional. All right? Linking up is not optional. Demanding cameras, deeper background checks, more security. That's not paranoia. That's protection. Because awareness without action is just noise. And noise without accountability is just chaos. All right? And let me leave y'all with this. All right? Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path. All right? And leave a trail. Y'all know who said that? Ralph Waldo Emerson. All right? That's what we're doing little by little. All right? Carving out a trail of accountability, of awareness, of protection. So I say this with fire, all right? With my chest. Stop letting TikTok raise your kids. Stop letting teddy bears with twisted scripts whisper poison into their ears. Stop letting administrators sweep trauma under the rug. Stop letting silence choke your legacy. All right? Adults are failing them, but we don't have to. We can rise raw and uncut, bold and poetic, demanding change until the system has no choice but to listen. And as Maya Angelou said, still I rise. And we rise for the children. We rise for the future. We rise together. That's what we need to do. Give me 1 second while I set up the next video real quick. All right.
If I knew then what I know now, sometimes I wonder, would I be the same or would I be different? A shorty still believes in fairy tales and imagination that lasts forever. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of times, fix my mistakes, will things change? Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life, help me see the light through all the pain and strife. I wake up in the morning feeling lost and alone, wondering if life's worth living or if I should grab the chrome. The weight of the world on my shoulders is hard to bear. I see no change, it's like nobody cares. I look in the mirror, see a stranger staring back, lost in the world that's spinning off track. I ask myself, is this all there is, or should I give up and let the darkness win?
I see no change, just the same old game. Wake up in the morning, I ask myself, is life worth living or should I blast myself? I see no change, just the same old pain. But I know deep down, I gotta break these chains. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of time, fix my mistakes, will things change? Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life. Help me see the light through all the pain and strife. If I can go back in time, tell my younger self it's gonna be fine. Embrace the challenges, let your light shine. You'll grow and learn, just give it time. Hey young me, listen up, don't be afraid. Life's a journey, mistakes will be made. Chase your dreams, don't let them fade. Believe in yourself, you'll make the grade. Don't stress about what others say. Stay true to yourself every day. Love deeply, laugh often. Don't delay, cause in the end, it's how you play. Be kind to others along the way. Spread love and positivity each day. Don't worry about what they may say, cause your uniqueness is here to stay. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of times, fix my mistakes when things change. Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life. Help me see the light through all the pain and strife. If I can meet my younger self, I tell her not to be afraid, that courage will be her wealth and bravery will never fade. Don't fear the challenges ahead, for you'll face them head on. Your inner strength will dawn. You'll grow up to be a warrior, standing tall, unafraid and strong. A parent, a role model, and inspired, fighting for what's right all along. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of time, fix my mistakes when things change. Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life. Help me see the light through all the pain and strife. Looking back on all the roads I've traveled, regrets and lessons learned along the way, but still holding on to hope and faith that with God's grace, a brighter day will come our way. I see no change at all. I'm stuck in this cycle, feeling so small. I ask myself, is this all there is, or should I just end it all with a final kiss? I try to stay strong, but it's getting harder each day. The pain and the struggle won't seem to go away. I'm tired of the lies, tired of the deceit. I see no change, just defeat after defeat. I wake up in the morning feeling lost and alone, wondering if life's worth living or if I should grab the throne. The weight of the world on my shoulders is hard to bear. I see no change, it's like nobody cares. Deep down I know I must fight. I won't let the darkness consume me. I'll shine my light, I'll rise above the pain. I'll break free from these chains. I'll find my purpose and I'll make a change. Sometimes I wonder if I turn back the hands of times, fix my mistakes when things change. Oh Lord, guide me through this journey of life. Help me see the light through all the pain and strife. Sometimes in life we make so many mistakes, and we think that when we fall, we're not able to get up. We listen to those that, talk in our ear, tell us that they, are there for us. And at the end of the day, what's crazy? A friend ain't nothing but $1 in your pocket. Family is what you make of it. Family is not who you're born into. Alright? So we need to pick ourselves up and do what we gotta do. Life is not for you to sit around and wait for Superman to come save you. Only you can save yourself. Just like that.
All right, y'all. Before we move on to the next topic, right, I'm going to end, what I was saying about all that right there with the school with this, all right? People will gossip about the fights, the scandals, the failures, but they won't amplify the parents showing up at town halls, demanding cameras, pushing, for deeper background checks, fighting for security. They won't highlight the teachers who still care, who still show up, who still fight for kids, even when the system is breaking them down. That's the hypocrisy. We glorify the chaos, but we ignore the, the builders. And here's the truth, all right? Change doesn't come from hashtags. Change doesn't come from administrators sweeping trauma under the rug. Change comes from parents and teachers standing shoulder to shoulder saying enough, all right? Like, be the change that you wish to see in the world, all right? Like, that's something that, what's her name? Mahatma Gandhi, all right? That's not just a quote. That's a call to action. Parents, teachers, communities. We are the change. But, we got to build a bold. The ultimate measure of a man, all right, is not where he stands. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. MLK Jr. Right now, we're in controversy. Right now, we're in challenge. So where do we stand? All right. We stand in town halls. We stand in classrooms. We stand in community centers. We stand in the gap between chaos and accountability, because if we don't, the next generation will inherit nothing but the trauma in silence. Right? And like I said earlier, awareness without action is just noise, and noise without accountability is just chaos. That's some real shit right there. All right. And with that being said, all right, says no one, none of my, my normal subscribers have come up here, drop the link. I'm gonna move on to the next topic. All right. So let's talk about it. This topic right here is crazy. All right. Because this right here, what we're going to talk about, is beyond crazy. All right. A convicted child sex offender hosting children events through a nonprofit. All right. That's not charity. That's, how can I say, predation dressed up in paperwork. Parents, be careful. These predators don't just lurk in alleys anymore. All right. They're slipping into nonprofit schools, churches, anywhere they can camouflage themselves as helpers. All right. And let me just say this. Out of all the options for work or charity, these women conveniently chose the one that puts them in direct contact with children. All right. That's not, how can I say, coincidence. That's calculation. That's evil with a business plan. All right. Level 3 sex offenders working with children. Christ almighty. All right. They shouldn't even be out of prison, let alone running events for kids. That's not rehabilitation. This is exploitation. And the fact that the system even allows this shows how broken it is. All right. So I need parents to really listen. All right. How can I say, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Thomas Jefferson. All right. That means we can't afford to be passive. We can't afford to trust blindly. We can't afford to let predators slip through the cracks that we've never, that were never supposed to exist. All right. This is why I constantly say it on this platform. All right. This is why I say we build caskets in this bitch, because every time the system fails, all right, it buries another child's innocence. And if we don't stand, all right, we don't stand up, if we don't demand accountability, if we don't protect our kids, the silence becomes complicity. Real shit. Like, listen, I'm gonna put it like this. The only thing necessary for crime, all right, is evil. All right. I'm gonna put it like this. I'm saying this all fucking twisted, all right? The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil, all right, is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke said that, all right? And right now, too many good people are doing nothing. Too many administrators are sweeping it under the rug. Too many communities are whispering instead of, how can I say, shouting. So here's the truth. Predators are strategic, but parents can be stronger. Communities can be louder. Policies can be tighter. We can demand background checks, demand transparency, demand accountability, all right? Because awareness without action is just all right? It's just noise. And noise without accountability is just chaos. But it's crazy how motherfuckers that are supposed to be in the list, in the registry list, all right, are hosting community events where children are in, nonprofit events. All right. How is it possible? I don't fucking know. But it's leading us to this video right here. All right. Convicted child sex offender hosting children events through local nonprofit. All right.
I think that it should be investigated. I think it should be prosecuted if need be. I think that these individuals know better.
Yes,
a
they do know.
nonprofit led by a convicted child sex offender has hosted multiple events for children and more events scheduled, including a kids' babysitting party in the metro. I'm John Holt.
I'm Lauren Halifax.
A registered sex offender. Yo, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, so law enforcement says there's little that they can do unless state lawmakers change the law. Tonight, a former state prosecutor says he's not buying that. it's his opinion they could take action under the current law. Fox 4's Malik Jackson's been looking into this. He joins us live from here in Midtown. Malik, what are the legal experts saying could be done to protect these kids from offenders?
They say that this situation tests the strength of Missouri laws when it comes to protecting children. In this case, you have two convicted child sex criminals, one of whom that founded this nonprofit. And in order to fundraise for this organization, these two women are hosting events that cater towards children. A trunk or treat last month, a face painting event, and an upcoming babysitting kids party.
That's wild.
Some questions for you. So you got this nonprofit. Tell us about it. Joanna White helped start the nonprofit Sisters in Spirit Transitional Living Empowerment and Recovery Programs.
We are trying to open a nonprofit organization to women coming out of prison.
White is a convicted Tier 3 sex offender. That's the highest tier designation at the federal level. She spent 9 years behind bars after a jury found her guilty of raping a 13-year-old boy in 1997. Despite this conviction, she's defiant.
That was a long time ago. That's not who I am today.
As a Tier 3 sexual offender, she must stay registered for the rest of her life and follow rules.
The law says I cannot be in a park.
She lives at the same address as Jennifer Dix, who worked with this nonprofit. Dix is also a Tier 3 sex offender. She pleaded guilty in 2004 to statutory sodomy in the first degree and another felony for use of a child in a sexual performance. That child was 9 years old.
But I'm confused. How in the hell did they approve them? How? With this background, with the type of background that they got, because you got to get permits and all this. You see where I'm coming from? How is she a part of a nonprofit organization with the background that she has? Because to deal with kids, you got to get your background checked. So how did they, you know what? We're talking about the motherfuckers inside the system.
Think about your partner that is a part of the leadership team for this nonprofit, Jennifer Dix.
She is no longer a part. She is no longer a partner.
But she was a partner of this.
At one time, yes.
As recent ago as the trunk or treat, she was still a partner then.
After that.
But why you still there? Both of y'all are Tier 3s. Sex offenders at that.
She was no longer.
Lord have mercy.
She pled guilty to multiple crimes against a 9-year-old in 2004. So you didn't know that before you hosted an event for children.
Exactly.
Here's what we do know. On October 19th, the charity held a trunk or treat event for kids here in the Metro. We also know the group has a scheduled babysitting kids party and another holiday event, a gingerbread party and contest on December 7th. Greg Watt is a defense attorney who previously worked as a Jackson County prosecutor. He believes the trunk or treat broke the law that bars sex offenders from having contact with children at Halloween events.
I think it's very clear that the contact is to be absolutely avoided at all costs.
The law specifically references October 31st, raising questions about Halloween events held on other days. So you think if you presented this case in front of a jury as a former state prosecutor, you think you could get a conviction?
I think I could. I think the sentiment is this. So what are we seeking to do in terms of the spirit of the law? Like, what is the policy behind it? What are the goals behind it? And I think the goals and the policy and the spirit of the law are pretty clear about why this exists and who it exists for.
Working for you, Fox 4 reached out to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and Prosecutor Melissa Johnson. Her office said, "We take the safety of our children seriously. We're working with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office to gather more information about this situation." The Sheriff's Office oversees offenders registered in this county. Sheriff Daryl Forte stated that deputies must enforce the statutes as written. Should the statute be revised to a broader restriction, such as any Halloween-related activities during the month of October of each year, it could possibly close this loophole.
That's the problem. That is the problem that we're having. They're not enforcing the laws. They're not enforcing the policies. All right. They're just going through these goddamn loopholes, and that's how these goddamn predators are loose. Y'all see the background? Y'all see the background? We building caskets up in this bitch, yo. We building caskets in here. All right. Y'all want to get y'all a hoodie? Man, listen, I'm about to get mine done soon. Right? Listen, shout out to Mr. Print, man. For real. I'm about to get mine done soon until I get my little how can I say it? Direct on garment printer, because right now I just got the vinyl one and I gotta print out photos and stuff like that. Now I want that direct on garment, John. All right. And we gonna get these hoodies on this John looking better. All right. I'm gonna start making these at home like I used to. Look, yo, man, get yours. All right, because we building caskets up in this John. Rest in peace to predators. There's no cure for them. But let's let this play. We got Mr. Oates in the building, man. Big shout out to Mr. Oates. Blessings, Mr. Oates. What you doing? Is that really Mr. Oates? He's like, where you at, Riders? Where you at, Riders? He said it twice. Is that Mr. Oates? I think it's Mr. Oates. Yeah, he's got the wrench. So it is Mr. Oates. I finally paid my StreamYard. All right. I wasn't cheap this month and I paid the StreamYard. But let's get back into the conversation. All right. So I can give my commentary on this video. This is wild.
In the law,
we see these laws enforced strictly to the letter in Clay County, Platte County, Johnson County, Kansas, and then Cass County. Where we don't see the priority on these types of situations is Jackson County. I think they need to look at some of the policy decisions for why this law was created.
Fox 4 tried to access the Facebook group where these flyers were posted, but that group was paused the same day we interviewed White.
God said, don't judge. Let me judge. Get to know somebody before you judge. That's what I would tell the community.
She just said it? She just said, get to know somebody before, bitch. Lady, you is a registered sex offender. You raped a 13-year-old in 1997 against his will. Why would anybody want to get to know you? I want to keep you away from my kids as far away as I can. I don't care if it's a woman or a man. All right. People out here think that because, oh, it's a woman, she's not capable of, sexually assaulting a boy or a man. Yes, they are. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. They will Cardi B a man in a heartbeat and get them. All right.
Community, like I'm telling you.
White tells Fox 4.
Dude, listen to what this bitch said.
Let me judge.
Tried to access the flyers were posted, but that group was paused the same day we interviewed White.
God said, don't judge. Let me judge. Get to know somebody before you judge. That's what I would tell the community, like I'm telling you.
White tells Fox 4 that she does not plan to attend the babysitting kids party, even though her number is on the flyer. And again, the prosecutor's office here in Jackson County, following our investigation, says that they will consult the Jackson County Sheriff's Office as they begin to review this situation.
They tripping. No, they out of pocket, yo, man. Protect kids at all costs, yo. They tripping, yo. Are they too dumb to realize this isn't about a Halloween event? This is about protecting children. This is about protecting survivors. This is about protecting innocence, all right? There should never have been stolen. Like, their innocence should have never been stolen in the first place. Imagine taking your child to a community event, thinking it's safe, thinking it's family friendly, and then seeing your abuser standing there, passing out candy to your baby. That's not just madness. That's cruelty disguised as community, all right? Victims don't deserve to ever see their abuser in a family-friendly space. Not at all. Not ever. All right? And let me say this clear, all right? Let me address the hypocrisy. All right. If not for the protection of kids, then at least protect the people who already paid, all right, with their innocence. Protect the survivors who carry scars, all right, the world refuses to see. Protect the ones who already had their childhood stolen, because when you let predators host events, you're not just failing children, you're re traumatizing the ones who survived, all right. This right here is pure madness. This is negligence dressed up as charity. All right. This is evil with a flyer and a sign up sheet. All right. And those women know better. Out of all the causes, out of all the charities, out of all the options, they chose the one that puts predators in direct contact with children. That's not ignorance. All right. That's complicity. All right. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, because of those who look on and do nothing. Albert Einstein. All right. Silence is not protection. Neutrality, all right, is not safety. Looking away is not innocence. Parents, communities, survivors, we cannot afford to look away. We cannot afford to shrug. We cannot afford to let predators slip into spaces meant for healing and joy. Because every time we do, we build caskets for innocence. All right. And caskets are not, how can I say, and caskets are not what predators deserve. All right. Not platforms. And here's another truth. All right. Justice will not be served until the two who are, how can I say, unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Benjamin Franklin. Outrage is not optional. All right. Awareness is not optional. Protection is not optional. All right. So here's the truth. Stop pretending this is all about candy. Stop pretending this is about Halloween. Stop pretending this is about second chances. This is about children. This is about survivors. This is about refusing to let predators wear the mask of charity. All right. And let me end this topic with this. Like I've been ending all the ones earlier, right? Still I rise. You know who said that? Maya Angelou. All right. And we rise not just for ourselves, but for every child who deserves safety. We rise raw, uncut, bold, poetic. We rise to roast. All right. We roast these predators. All right. To expose the hypocrisy, to demand change. And we rise together because protecting children is not optional. All right. It is survival. Real shit. It's too much of this. All right. Give me 1 second, all right? And in a minute, we're going to talk about the confessions, all right, of a child molester. So, like I said just a second ago, if anybody wishes to come up, chop it up with a shorty real quick, just ask me. I'll drop the link, all right? Just ask and I'll drop the link. Is this the video?
In the shadow of my dreams, I was confined a prisoner of my own mind, hoping to find escape.
And that's some real shit. All right. So we're about to get into this next story, all right? And listen, let's talk about it. Confession. All right. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Confessions of a child molester. Can offenders be rehabilitated? The answer, the answer is starring. All right. Like, I said that wrong. The answer is staring at us in the face. All right. No. To me, in my opinion, no. They cannot be rehabilitated. No. It's been scientifically proven. I mean, if y'all feel otherwise, we got a poll down in the chat. All right. Down below. Y'all could, cast y'all vote. Or y'all could, have a simple conversation respectfully with a shorty. All right. Through the chat. All right. But for me, like I said, no. The answer is in our face. All right. Where this is a video where a man confesses. All right. He confesses about the things he's done. All right. He's still saying he did it. All right. For educational purposes. And it just went too far. No, sir. You're not misunderstood. You're not confused. You're not a victim. All right. You're not a victim of circumstances. You're just evil. That's not rehabilitation. All right. What this man is saying is nothing more than just word salad. All right. That's manipulation dressed up as remorse. All right. His motivation for not reoffending has nothing to do with keeping children safe. It's about keeping himself comfortable. That's not rehabilitation. Rehabilitation would be finding child molestation wrong, disgusting, all right, vile, like not just acknowledging that other people see it that way. That's not taking accountability. All right. So let's talk about the lie. All right, they say child molesters can be rehabilitated. For me, I feel as though they can't. All right, child molesters cannot be fixed or cured. Anyone who gets their desires fulfilled by harming children is beyond help and beyond hope. Anyone who has sexual relationships with a child should automatically get a life imprisonment, period. Because there is nothing, no therapy, no program, no second chances that will ever make a predator stop wanting what they want. All right. When you sit here and you castrate them, they'll find other ways. All right. Like, this is not about rehabilitation from what I see in the video. This is about protection. All right. This is about justice. This is about refusing to let predators hide behind excuses while children pay the price. All right. Let me drop something. All right. Let me just say this. All right. Justice will not be served until those who are, how can I say, unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Benjamin Franklin. All right. Outrage is not optional. Awareness is not optional. Protection is not optional. And here's another truth. All right. And this is something that, MLK said. The hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in the times of great moral conflict. All right. Neutrality is complicity. Silence is complicity. Looking away is complicity. All right. So here's to the, predators. Predators should be locked up until the day they die. Not given platforms, not given excuses, not given a second chance to re-traumatize survivors. Because every time the system entertains rehabilitation, it gambles with children's lives. And that's not a bet we can afford. All right? We cannot afford to lose that bet. And let me, just leave y'all with this right here real quick before we get into this video. All right? I don't get tired. I'm going to keep saying it throughout this whole live. Still I rise. All right? Maya Angelou. All right. And we rise not just for ourselves, but for every child who deserves safety. We rise raw, uncut, bold, poetic. We rise to roast the predators, to expose the hypocrisy, to demand change, and we rise together because protecting children is not optional. It is survival. All right. And I know a lot of people is not going to watch this, listen to this, because it's too much positivity in here, too much awareness, we're being too poetic. All right, we raising too much awareness to these topics, and guess what? I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. We're gonna keep talking, all right, because the more we talk, the more we reclaim.
More than 2,000 child sex offenders are behind bars in Utah right as we speak. A majority of them will be released and returned to the community. But can a child molester be rehabilitated back into society and not reoffend? That's the question.
No.
ABC4's Brittany Johnson goes one-on-one with a child sex predator and also dives into the topic with a clinical director for answers. Tonight, confessions of a child molester.
90% of the time, a child will be abused by someone in their circle of trust, according to Prevent Child Abuse Utah. Tonight, you'll hear from a Utah man who was sent to prison for sexually abusing close to 24 children in his neighborhood. He underwent therapy and now claims he's the safest man in his community.
He underwent therapy and claims to be the safest man in the community after having the thoughts that he had. Get the,
rehabilitate a pedophile.
Fuck out of here.
He preyed upon and abused more than 20 neighborhood children. He agreed to talk to ABC4 News about his crimes.
Bullshit.
I've had to confess to my crimes so many times. It makes me ill.
During his reign of terror, he victimized his own children. We have agreed to conceal his identity in an effort to protect his victims.
Conceal his, I hate when the news reporters be saying, "Oh, we're gonna conceal his identity in the effort to." Y'all should be protecting the victims. Expose his ass. Y'all protecting him. Y'all not protecting the victims. I'm getting so tired of y'all saying this. I hate when the media gaslights.
I blew it being a good father, but my intentions were always good.
Court documents reveal that over several years, he exposed himself and touched children inappropriately.
I wanted my kids to be educated, but it was hard to tell the difference between just keeping it on an education level and not getting
He's a
involved
lying
in the
sack of
sex
shit.
part of it, because like I said, it was enjoyable.
What?
Records also state he had sexual intercourse.
It was enjoyable, but y'all still say that. Come on, man! This shit, he said it made him sick in the beginning, but it was in. Which one is it, motherfucker? I can't even get it out. It was enjoyable, or it made you sick. Fuck. I gotta watch what I say too. Like,
and sodomized some of his young victims.
I was working with my religious leader, because I realized that I'd gone too far and this was not right, and I wanted to stop it. So I was talking with him, and I was going to LDS Social Services, and but once you've committed the crime, there's no way out.
A court-ordered psychological evaluation found his, quote, ability to rationalize his sexual offenses bordered on delusional.
I find young children beautiful and sweet and innocent, and I can see how it's considered disgusting.
Locked behind bars from 1997 until 2009, the self-proclaimed reformed pedophile asserts the therapy he received in prison successfully rehabilitated him.
Therapy works if the person having the therapy believes it and puts it into effect and understands it, and they have to want to make it work. But my main deterrent is knowing what I want for the future and to be with my family.
You know, whatever happened to my poll?
To be a free person.
Of somebody who has a compulsive personality that
For insight into the rehabilitation of sex
Y'all
offenders,
believe what this guy is saying out
Mace
his? I don't
Warren.
believe one word. All right, I don't believe one word. Like, listen, like I said, time after time, it's been proven that these, people that do this, all right, don't change. It's crazy how he reminisces how it was enjoyable, the things he did to not just his children, but to people within his own community. And they think that he's rehabilitated. Man, not even castrating this motherfucker, he's gonna change. Real shit.
A provider which treats about 1,000 child sex offenders annually.
if rehabilitation is based solely on, does the person return back to prison after committing a new sex crime, then we're very successful with that. If rehabilitation is, they never have a adverse thought about a child again, maybe not so much.
Warren says even after therapy and treatment, offenders can still have an attraction toward children.
That will happen. There's theories out there that would say your sexual attraction doesn't necessarily change, it expands over time.
To help offenders cope with their adverse attraction towards children, Warren relies on cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT helps offenders recognize deviant thoughts and allows them to respond to challenging situations in a more effective way.
Based on what we know in terms of treatment, if you're using a cognitive behavioral therapy model with the risk, need, and responsivity principles, you're going to see a dramatic reduction in risk of recidivism for offenders who are leaving treated versus untreated.
The latest data from the Department of Justice supports Warren's claim. The research shows the average recidivism rate for sex offenders receiving cognitive behavioral treatment at 9%. The recidivism rate for untreated sex offenders, 21%. But there's also contrasting research that contends treatment for sex offenders does not work. The statement has been a source of debate for decades. One study finds the effectiveness of treatment depends on a number of factors, including the type of offender, the type of treatment, and how much management, supervision, and support the offender has.
Come on, and let's be real. In order for the treatment to work, right, the offender has to want it to work. And some of these motherfuckers don't want to change in reality. They don't want to kill that urge. They don't. All right? Listen, these motherfuckers got demons inside them. All right?
There are currently 2,262 child sex offenders, inmates under the supervision of the Utah Department of Corrections. 472 are in active treatment. Child sex offender treatment for them is optional. Those choosing not to participate often have to serve their full sentence without parole, according to Warren.
What we do know is that those who go untreated are more at risk for committing new sex crimes versus those who have been treated and transition to the community are much less likely to commit those crimes.
Despite the fact that authorities sent the convicted child molester interviewed in this story back to prison in 2015 for violating his parole.
And to be completely cured is difficult, but you can change enough where it's not an issue anymore.
The ex-con insists he's the safest person in his community.
I believe I'm the safest person in this.
Wait a minute. Why is the
Not only
takeover calling
because
Mr.
what
Oaks?
I've gone through, but knowing what I did and knowing the law, I actually know what to look for.
If you know someone who might be a victim of child abuse, there's help. Call Utah's Child Abuse Hotline. The number's on your screen, 855-323-3237. So, can sex offenders successfully rehabilitate back into society? It depends which research you believe and how you define the word successful and rehabilitate. We have the research posted on our website, abc4.com. Back to you.
Henderson single.
Pause it right there because that's the next topic. All right. Hold up 1 minute, yo. This is wild. Like, listen, it's too much of a risk. Let's call it what it is, all right? Child molestation is murder of a childhood, all right? Of the childhood, my bad. And sabotage of the future. It doesn't just scar the body, it kills the spirit. It poisons the innocence. It rewrites the story of a life before it even begins, all right? This man is dangerous. Clearly, they can't change. All right. He went to prison in 1997, got out in 2009, and went back in 2015. After this so-called confession for violating parole, all right, that's not rehabilitation. That's repetition. All right. That's not growth. That's grooming. They don't change. They just get smarter. All right. More manipulative, more strategic. All right. And finding other victims. And let me just say this. How many times do we have to watch predators cycle in and out of prison before we admit the truth? Rehabilitation is a word they weaponize, all right? A mask they wear, a performance they put on. But beyond the mask, the desire doesn't die. Behind the mask, the danger doesn't fade. Behind the mask, the predator is still haunting, all right? Parents, communities, survivors, hear me. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. All right. Edmund Burke. Doing nothing is not an option. All right. Looking away is not an option. Hoping they change is not an option. Child molesters cannot be fixed. They cannot be cured. They cannot be trusted. All right. Anyone who fulfills their desires by harming children is beyond help and beyond hope. And anyone who has a sexual relationship with a child should automatically get life imprisonment. Period. No parole, no second chances, no loopholes. Because every time the system gambles with rehabilitation, it gambles with children's lives. And that's a bet that we cannot afford to lose. And I don't get tired of saying this. Real shit. Predators don't change, they adapt. They don't stop, they strategize. They don't repeat. They don't repent, my bad. They repeat. And if we don't stand up, if we don't demand accountability, if we don't protect our kids, the silence becomes complicity. All right? And I don't think anybody is going to come up. I know Mr. Oates is about to be entertained over there. I think the takeover is calling Mr. Oates. Mr. Oates, everything okay? Shit, what's going on? Well, I can't see what's going on over there until I'm done my live, so I'm going to focus over here. I don't know what's going on. Why they calling out my OG, man? But it seems like they calling out my OG. Damn. I'll get into the gossip later on. All right, because we're about to get into this next topic. All right, like let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it. Whew. Henderson Daycare, all right, is facing a lawsuit after a 5-year-old suffered a dislocated elbow at the hands of staff. Surveillance video shows the response, and how can I say, and what do we see? Staff covering for each other, sweeping it under the rug like everything else, acting like accountability is optional. You know what baffles me? All right? What baffles me is this. How can grown adults, all right, people who, how can I say, may even have kids of their own, cover for abuse instead of protecting a child? How can you look at a 5-year-old in pain and decide your co-worker's reputation matters more than that child's safety? That's not just negligence, all right? That's betrayal. Let me say this, all right? Daycare is supposed to be, how can I say, a safe space, not a danger zone, all right? Parents drop their babies off trusting staff, all right, to nurture, not to injure. But when staff covers for each other, when administrators sweep trauma under the rug, when lawsuits become the only way to get justice, that's proof the system is broken, all right? And here's the truth. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comforts and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Shout out to MLK, all right? Right now, daycare staffs are standing in, how can I say, cowardice, not courage. They're standing in silence, not accountability, all right? And not a good silence, all right? They're stuck in silence. Parents, listen, all right? Children are the most, all right, how can I say, the world's most valuable resource and its best, hope for the future, according to John F. Kennedy. If that's true, which is, all right, then why are we letting daycares gamble with that hope? Why are we letting administrators sweep injuries under the rug? Why are we letting silence be the soundtrack of our children's pain? This is not just about one daycare. It's about a culture of cover-ups. This is about adults forgetting their duty. This is about betrayal dressed up as, professionalism. And if we don't call it out, we don't demand accountability, we don't protect our kids, all right, then silence becomes complicity. So here's the truth. Stop sweeping shit under the rug. Stop covering up for co-workers like the truth is optional. Stop pretending lawsuits are the only way to get justice, because every time you cover up for abuse, you build caskets for innocence. And caskets are not what children deserve. All right? Real shit. We got to stop the hypocrisy. All right? Like, how can I say it? We need to expose the failures, to expose the hypocrisy and demand change. All right? Real shit. So, let's take a look at this video. All right? And let's see what's going on.
Mom Brianne Barnard told me she was already racked with guilt for doing what many of us parents must do. She put her kids in daycare so she could earn a living. But just a few months in, she found herself at an emergency room with her daughter, and now at the helm of a lawsuit accusing a local daycare center of negligence, assault and battery, child abuse and neglect, and failure to report injury to a child.
I was distraught.
Late last summer, Bree chose the magic of learning on Horizon Drive in Henderson because it's in her neighborhood. Along with her 3 children, she says she toured the facility and they all loved it.
I was sold a dream.
But just 3.5 months later, in November 2024, she says something went terribly wrong.
I was just going to do my routine pickup, and I could hear the screams from inside my car.
When she got inside, she says she found her 5-year-old,
That's
Arabella,
fucked
at the
up.
front desk.
She would not move her arm. She couldn't.
Bree says she kept asking staff what happened.
They told me that she bumped it on a filing cabinet or the chair. There was like so many different stories that I was being told, and Arabella immediately told me no, that Mr. Bernard was the one who hurt her arm.
He was trying to get her to come on out, but she was screaming. We didn't see him pull her hands off her arm.
The daycare is equipped with multiple cameras, but Bree didn't see any video until months after the incident.
And it tore me to shreds. To shreds. That I put my children in that environment.
The center wouldn't show her any footage or provide a copy until she hired attorney Al Lasso.
Once I saw that video, and based on that video, I believe
I'm
that
trying to see
what
the
they did
video.
was not only unacceptable, but unlawful.
There we go.
In the surveillance video, you can see Bella in the reception area with multiple staff members. She climbs on the desk and plays with office equipment, including a stapler. Another child comes behind the desk, grabs a tablet, and falls to the ground trying to sit in a staff member's chair as it rolls away. You can see in
Yo,
the
that shit crazy. She's not doing nothing. She's just sat there while the young bull on the ground. Why not just talk to the kids? Ain't none of them doing shit. They just watching.
video that no one pays attention to him laying on the floor as they continue to work around him. He gets up on his own and collects his belongings about 40 seconds later.
I think anyone who views that video will come to the conclusion that it's run like a zoo.
At 4:08 p.m., Bernard Randall, a staff member identified in the lawsuit as Mr. Bernard, approaches the front.
Why is she hiding like that as soon as he started coming? Why is she so scared of the security guard like that?
Front desk.
I'm trying to look. Take a look.
Video.
Watch when the security guard comes.
Come to the conclusion that it's run like a zoo.
At 4:08 p.m., Bernard Randall, a staff member identified in the lawsuit as Mr. Bernard, approaches the front desk. Bella backs away as he rounds the corner.
See?
As Bernard tries to get her up, Bella begins to scream and cradle her arm.
I'll help you. I'll get her. I'm gonna just pick her up.
Dislocated or broke her arm. Let's see. I gotta go back.
As Mr. Bernard approaches the front desk, Bella backs away as he rounds the corner. As Bernard tries to get her up, Bella begins to scream and cradle her arm.
I'll help you. I'll get her. I'm gonna just pick her up and just take her outside and say, now.
Nothing happened to her arm.
This employee
Hey, bitch,
identified
was you
in
there?
court.
Look, man, look, yo, man, seeing stuff like this, yo, it makes me want to grab him out the damn screen and just, like, yo, smack him with an open hand on some real shit. Nothing happened. She's a 5-year-old, I think, if I'm not mistaken. She don't weigh but so much. Boy, husky as shit. He grabbed her arm the wrong way. He could have dislocated that shit or broke it. What you mean nothing happened? This little girl was already backing up from him, which to me tells me that he was already probably a little rough with her before. None of y'all is giving these kids attention. Young boy bust his ass on the chair. Stood on the ground for 40 seconds. While the chick on the chair ain't even move. And this bitch got the nerve to say that the little girl is faking it?
records as Sequoia Benson Schofield intervenes.
What? Lenore denied her arm. She did her own arm. Mr. Lenore never had her arm on her.
Listen to how they talk.
Though Bella is
vouch for him.
clearly in pain, they keep handling her arm. Dismissing her reaction.
Yo, she right here, she's pissing me off. She's been in this chair the whole fucking time. Like, she can't get up. She can't do nothing.
And trying to change her story.
So where did you hit your arm at over there? So what happened?
Sequoia changes her own story several times.
She hit it. When he was telling her to get up, she was in it and went like that. I seen it. I seen you get hit right there by the red stairs. I didn't see it. Just so you know what's going on.
Somebody said I didn't see it. I'm not sure who said that, but somebody in the joint said I didn't see it. This fucking lazy, I'm cussing. This lazy behind. Which is really getting me frustrated.
It's her because telling her to come out.
It continues.
No, we gotta see. We gotta see.
Yes, the cover up is bad, but what they put the little girl through while they're getting their story straight. And that's the worst part, because there is, in my opinion, it appears she's being tortured.
Yo, instead of taking the little girl to the nurse's office, they're still there trying to do this shit themselves. I didn't see not one of them pick up their phone, call the nurse, call an ambulance, call the mom, nothing. All the staff in this establishment broke protocol. And y'all wonder why I got a petition floating around.
I think it's a fake.
15 minutes.
She got the nerve to say, I think it's a fake. Wow. Yo, I can't. Look, well, I'm telling you, man, I turn into Griselda Blanco when it comes to my kids. All right. I really do. Don't listen. This is why we need more cameras.
It's after the incident, one staffer hands 5-year-old Bella an ice pack to hold on her own arm.
Wow.
Usually as a child, you expect the adults, they're there to help you and to comfort you and to get you the care you need. It's just the opposite in this case.
While Bella cries alone in a chair, staff continues with business as usual, emptying the trash and vacuuming around her.
That's what she's doing all the matter. But we know that, you know this. I didn't see it. Just so you know what's going on. I just heard you guys telling her to come out.
According to the lawsuit, no one from the Magic of Learning called Bree to tell her Bella was hurt or wrote up an accident report. When Bree arrived to get her children at the regular pickup time, which was nearly 40 minutes after the incident,
I raced out of there and I took her straight to the emergency room.
medical records from St. Rose Hospital show Bella's elbow had been dislocated. Bree says doctors told her
that it's a lot of force. Someone had to.
You could tell she's a little ass girl. Like the way I was looking at the video, I have a feeling that he grabbed her arm the wrong way, and he looked like he the husky type. I don't know why, one of the females didn't go get her. You see where I'm coming from? How the chick was able to just pick her up. No, the bull wanted to grab her arm while she was, backed up in that little corner. No, man. So all these cases with these parents, they all got lawsuits against these school districts. I'm telling you. Well, daycares and schools, my bad.
Really aggressive.
Hospital show Bella's elbow had been dislocated. Bree says doctors told her
that it's a lot of force. Someone had to really aggressively do something for a child's elbow to come out the way that it did.
I reached out to Tom and Tess Kelly, the owner and director of the Magic of Learning, asking for interviews with them and other staff who were involved. No one would speak to me on camera or make any comment for this story. I spoke separately to Bernard Randall and Sequoia Benson Schofield on the phone, but they too declined comment.
It's hard for me to, trust other people with my kids now.
13 Investigates obtained public records for this year and last from the state's Child Care Licensing Bureau. Child care facilities are required to self-report injury incidents to the appropriate licensing authority, but the Magic of Learning's records show just one injury from the time frame we requested, in December, when a child suffered broken teeth after doing a backflip on the playground. Bella's injury was not documented in the records. The state confirms the facility did not report the incident and says child care licensing is now investigating. Henderson police also tell me that they still have an open investigation. As for other incidents at Magic of Learning, state licensing records show 8 complaints filed against the daycare since January of 2024. The only substantiated complaints were for being out of ratio several times, meaning too few staff members in charge of too many children. A complaint filed last October,
So why not do something
before Bella's injury, alleged that a staff member picked up a child by the hands and wrists. That complaint was not substantiated.
trying to swipe? They trying to sweep everything under the rug. Trying to sweep it all under the rug. Listen, I don't know if y'all noticed it, but the little girl started to hide as soon as she saw him. All right, as soon as she saw that security guard, she started to hide. All right, that's not play. That's not shyness. All right, that's trauma speaking louder than words. I wonder what happened before that day. All right, like listen, because I'm gonna be honest, you don't back into a corner unless you've already learned that corner is the only place you feel safe. All right, like how the hell did they think she was faking it? Like that scream of agony, not performance. All right, that was pain. All right, not theater. And yet the caregivers, the ones trusted to protect, dismissed it, covered it, swept it under the rug. That's not care, that's neglect. That's not protection, that's betrayal. Every caregiver in that room should be charged with neglect. Because when a child backs into a corner, the moment she sees Mr. B walk in, that's a flaming red flag. That's not coincidence. All right, that's fear. That's not imagination. That's survival. And nobody even peeped that shit. All right, and let me just say this: adults gaslighting children into silence. All right, it's the oldest betrayal in the book. That's what that lady was doing. All right, trying to manipulate that little girl into saying what she wanted her to say. But this little girl, she was brave enough to stick to her truth no matter what the adults around her insisted on. All right. That courage, that resilience, all right, that's a child refusing to let her pain be erased. That daycare needs to be shut down, period. All right. Because they don't care about kids. They don't care about covering for each other. They care about how can I say, they care about reputation over reality. All right. They care about silence over safety. And that's why lawsuits become the only way parents can, claw back to justice. All right. And let me, listen. Let me say a quote from John F. Kennedy, all right? Like, children are the living message we send to a time we will not see. All right? If that's true, which I feel it is, then what message are we sending when we let caregivers dismiss screams of agony? What message are we sending when we let children hide in corners instead of classrooms? All right? And here's another truth. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, all right? But because of those who look on and do nothing. Albert Einstein. Those caregivers looked on. They did nothing. And that silence is complicity. Real shit. Like, I don't know. I don't know when people are going to get it together, wake up, smell the coffee, all right? Like it's too much. All right, we're about to, move into the next topic. All right, this shit is crazy. These schools are getting out of pocket. I don't know what's up with them. All right, now this is an update. We've talked about this before. All right, now we're gonna talk about it again. All right, so let's talk about the 9 and a 10-year-old boy. All right, listen. A 9-year-old boy, right, arranged for allegedly assaulting a 5-year-old girl. And I gotta say allegedly, but we know it's not really allegedly, all right? And right behind him, a 10-year-old girl accused of the same brutal attack. Cleveland Juvenile Court, Judge Christine Sweeney's courtroom, all right? This isn't just a headline. This is a chilling reality. Children attacking children, childhood innocents being murdered by childhood violence. Listen, let me put it like this. Y'all think that only adults could be predators? They could be predators and pedophiles, yes. But people don't think for 1 second, right, that in reality, there are kids out here that sexually assault other kids. All right? That exists. But a lot of people don't believe it because, I don't know, I guess they've never heard it, seen it. But with so many stories out there, with some, a lot of this happening within families, and it happens in a lot of families, I don't know how people don't know that it exists. What baffles me is how we even get here. How do we get here? How did we, how we got here? A 9 and a 10-year-old already standing before a judge, already accused of brutality. That's not just a failure of parenting. All right. And I don't get tired of this because they be like, oh, well, if a kid is capable of doing that, right? I'm sitting here like, do you know that if a child is doing this, it means that something is going on in that child's life similar to that? Or they're witnessing something similar to that? Once again, what baffles me is how we even got here. All right? A 9 and a 10-year-old already standing before a judge, already accused of brutality. That's not just failure of parenting. I don't get tired of saying that. All right? That's a failure of a community, of culture, right? Of accountability. Kids don't wake up one morning and decide to destroy another child's life. They are shaped, influenced, and neglected. All right? Abandoned into that darkness. But, people don't want to hear that. They really don't. All right? And let me just say this. Parents look away, communities whisper instead of shout. All right? But here's the truth. When kids this young are arranged for violence, it's not just their crime. Is how can I say it? Is our collective indictment. All right. This is not just about one case. This is about a system that strips discipline, removes accountability, and leaves children to be raised by chaos. This is about TikTok trends teaching harm instead of imagination. And it's not just TikTok, all right? Because we see shit like this on YouTube. The adults are the first ones to do it. All right. How am I put it like this? That sugarcoat this shit, babysit this shit, indulge in this shit. You see where I'm coming from? Like, it's so many things in one, all right, that are teaching harm instead of imagination. This is about role models disappearing while predators, right, and neglect. How can I say, while predators, how can I put this into words? Yeah, parents disappearing while predators and neglect fill the gaps. Real shit. Like, children are living, how can I say, are the living message, all right, that we send. You're going to hear me say these quotes throughout the whole live, all right, because they fit in. Children are the living message we send, right, to a time we will not see. right? They say that children are our future. But what kind of message are we sending when a 9-year-old, right? When 9-year-olds are standing in courtrooms accused of brutality? Like, here's the truth, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Right? That's a quote by Frederick Douglass. But we're not building strong children. We're letting them break each other. We're letting them inherit trauma instead of guidance. Right? Like, people need to stop sweeping shit under the rug. Stop pretending kids are just, playing rough when they're committing violence. Stop acting like silence is protection, because every time we ignore the red flags, we build caskets, all right, for the innocents. And caskets are not what these children deserve. Parents and communities, schools, accountability is not optional. Protection is not optional. Awareness is not optional. We need to start doing a little more of it. Because if we don't stand up, if we don't demand change, if we don't protect our kids, then silence, all right? Then that's when silence becomes complicity. Real shit. But ain't nobody going to understand that. So let's get right into this video.
And as we told you before, as we follow this story, it is difficult. And we want to warn you, what you are about to hear is disturbing. And it might not be appropriate for children in the...
And mind y'all, this is an update, okay? I want to remind y'all, this is an update to this case.
room. You before as we follow this story, it is difficult. And we want to warn you, what you are about to hear is disturbing. And it might not be appropriate for children in the room.
Last week, we were there when a judge ordered the 10-year-old to be placed under house arrest with an ankle monitor. And today, the boy appeared in court for his arraignment. News 5's Nadine Abasada has been on this story from the beginning.
All rise.
Thursday, Antavia Kinnebrew appeared in juvenile court once again, asking the judge that the second child accused of assaulting her 5-year-old daughter in a field is not given mercy.
I do not believe that these kids should be able to return home. Their behavior that caused them to do something so evil obviously started at home. These kids being at home doesn't give them a chance to think about the damage they have done to my daughter.
The 9-year-old boy and the 10-year-old girl are both facing charges, including attempted murder, rape, felonious assault, kidnapping, and strangulation.
Yeah. Mr. Borkowski, how does your client plead?
Your Honor, this time he denies the allegations in the complaint.
In court, the boy appeared with 2 family members by his side. Judge Kristen Sweeney granted a competency.
I gotta pause it right here because on some real shit, right? You can never imagine, right? Like, damn, a 9-year-old trying to assault a 5-year-old, right? And in the same process, they trying to strangulate the little girl, sexually assault the little girl and murder the little girl. Like, what would cause a 9 and a 10-year-old to do this to a little girl? A 5-year-old girl. What would get their anger? What would raise, what would make them even, them thoughts cross through their heads? Like, yeah, this is how I'm going to get back for whatever happened. That's a 5-year-old. You see where I'm coming from? Them type of thoughts in a 9 and a 10-year-old? These 2 kids, they've witnessed something within either their own community, in school, or at home.
The evaluation for the child at the request of the defense.
Does the prosecutor's office have any objection to that motion?
No objection, Your Honor.
The defense then requested the minor be allowed to go home.
My client is 9 years old, no prior adjudications. I would ask that he be released to his family.
The prosecution countered, asking for home detention as well as an ankle monitor.
Again, this case resulted in a 5-year-old being left naked, beaten, urinated upon in the field, and left for hours.
Obviously, they are not held accountable for anything. These kids did something horrible. They changed my daughter's life. The way she talk, the way she act, the way she thinks, They stole her innocence, and it's time for them to start facing the consequences of their actions, period.
Judge Sweeney ordered that the 9-year-old be placed on house arrest with an ankle monitor and requested that the county get involved.
I am just going to put this on the record too. The court will be asking the county to do an investigation, Children and Family Services to be doing an investigation in this matter. And that's all I'm going to say about that at the present time.
So now the 9-year-old will undergo a competency evaluation, just like we told you last week, involving the 10-year-old girl in this same case. What's going to happen in December? The attorney is going to meet with the judge and discuss the progress of that evaluation. Then a hearing could follow next year, possibly as early as January. Reporting in Cleveland, Nizina Busada, News 5.
Okay, Nikki, thank you. New developments now on a chilling case that has shocked our entire community. A 9-year-old, a 10-year-old accused of attempted murder and rape in an absolutely brutal attack, and the victim just 5 years old. Both suspects were supposed to appear in juvenile court this morning. Only one showed up. Katie Tersick was inside the courtroom, spoke to the victim's mother.
A 10-year-old girl walked into a courtroom this morning accused of unthinkable crimes. She came wearing a face mask, dressed in a pink coat, staying silent the entire time as the prosecutor outlined the charges.
This case results in the facts that a 5-year-old on September 13th of 2025 was found naked in a field, urinated upon, and assaulted with a weapon. At the very minimum, Your Honor, having spoken with the victim's family, the very minimum, Your Honor, we are asking for home detention with ankle monitor.
A family member of hers sat behind her during the hearing as the judge placed the 10-year-old on home detention with an electronic monitor.
I can't really imagine circumstances in which these would be the charges. And I would not release the some sort.
And understandably emotional.
This type of behavior doesn't deserve grace. They knew what they were doing, and they was okay with that. They even play after not caring about my baby.
A 9-year-old suspect was also supposed to be in court today, but he did not show up. His family said that they were having car troubles. The judge ordered the boy to be in court within the next week, or else she will have to issue an arrest warrant. Another stunning twist in a case that is so hard to understand. In Cleveland, Katie Tersick, 19 News.
First here at 5 o'clock, attempted murder, rape, felony, and strangulation of a 5-year-old. Those are the charges a 10-year-old faced today in court. Good evening, I'm Katie Usen.
And I'm Tara Morgan. News 5's Nadina Busada was there for the arraignment. At this time, we are not showing or naming the children involved due to their age.
This type of behavior doesn't deserve grace. They knew what they were doing, and they was okay with that. They even play after.
Says her 5-year-old daughter was assaulted in a field. She sat in the same courtroom as the 10-year-old girl accused of the attack.
Since this horrific act was done to her, she just been going through it, and that's how it should be for her offenders.
Today, Judge Kristen Sweeney arraigned the 10-year-old girl who appeared in juvenile court with a mask and hooded puffy coat.
This is going to be a very short hearing where I'm going to go over your rights with you.
She faces a list of charges, including attempted murder, rape, felonious assault, kidnapping, and strangulation.
We have filed a competency motion as we do have significant concerns for her ability to understand the statutory language of the complaint, as well as her legal rights in the proceedings today.
While the judge granted that motion, the prosecution asked that the 10-year-old be placed on house arrest with an ankle monitor.
They should not get grace or a break to return home and get prepared for their life to change, because not only did they been given enough time already, nothing prepare my baby for her life to be changed. She didn't get time.
The defense argued against the ankle monitor, referencing court Monday, where they said the child has faced threats at school, crowds at her home, and that the family has since moved for safety reasons.
If she is put on ankle monitor, that will become public knowledge. And if that is, and if someone figures out where she is living and they know that she is court ordered to be there, that could pose a potential safety risk to her and her family.
But Judge Sweeney ordered that house arrest belts and an ankle monitor are necessary.
One is the serious nature of these charges. Secondly, and I'm just going to note this for the record, we don't have a parent present in court today for MH. And so I am not sure what the living circumstances are outside of what was discussed in the closure hearing.
So what's next? The 10-year-old girl will now undergo a competency evaluation, and there will be a hearing to follow. Now regarding the 9-year-old boy accused as well. He did not appear in court today due to a family member having car issues. His hearing was rescheduled to next week. Now, if he doesn't appear again, the judge will issue a warrant for his arrest. Reporting in Cleveland, Nadina Busada, News 5.
I don't know how to say her name, but that's the update, right, of the 9 and the 10-year-old who, did what they did to the 5-year-old. Listen, the parent of the 10-year-old, all right, need to be investigated. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, their child is on trial for attempted murder, and they didn't even show up. What a shocker, right? But let's be real, all right? It's not just shocking, it's disgusting, because accountability doesn't stop, at the child's accountability, all right? Like, accountability starts at home. How do kids this young even know about these awful things? Like, it makes you wonder what goes on behind closed doors, what behaviors they're watching, what violence they're absorbing. Children don't invent brutality out of thin air, all right? They mirror what they see. And if home is chaos, then chaos becomes their language. Keeping them at home isn't going to help them. All right. At 9 and 10, you know the difference between right and wrong. You know when you're hurting someone. And that 5-year-old didn't deserve to be the target of their violence. My heart goes out to, that precious little girl and her mother, because they're the ones carrying the scars while everyone else debates accountability. And let me just say this, parents who don't show up, babysitters who don't protect, all right, communities that look away, all of them are complicit. All of them are guilty of neglect, because when you fail to show up, when you fail to protect, when you fail, all right, to guide, you're not just showing your child, you're failing every child they harm. These kids need to be, in juvenile. What I mean by that, juvenile detention, juvenile jail, whatever you want to call it, yes. Right? They need counseling, yes. But their parents, right? They need to be held accountable. All right? Because justice isn't just about, how can I say, justice isn't just about punishing the act, all right? It's about exposing the environment that bred it. All right? Like, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men, right? Frederick Douglass said that. But we're not building strong children. We're letting them break each other. And every time we ignore the home environment, we build caskets. Real shit. Look at it. Or we put them behind a jail cell. So I'm going to just say this. Stop pretending this is just about kids acting out. Stop pretending that this is just about juvenile court. Stop pretending this is just about, one incident. That this is about, this is not, how can I say? That this is about just one incident, right? This is about accountability in, at every level. Parents, babysitters, schools, communities, because protecting children is not optional, like I said earlier. And I've been saying this since I started this live. Like, we need to rise, and not just, for ourselves, but for every child who does, who deserves safety. But, ain't nobody gonna want to talk about that. I could talk about so many things. You see, I could bring so many things to the table, but a lot of people is going to ignore it. Do I have the little poem on this, John?
They don't talk about us, only when there's a crime. Would you believe me if I was to tell you that in this world, with or without money, we're all richer than the poor? The problem is those that say that I'm reaching out to give a hand. Instead, they leeching hands and
itching, ready to see you missing. Well, thinking what to write, something inside me told me I can freestyle or I can rap. I can go with a rhythm that can make you dance. Tell you what I see on a daily, tell you everything's okay just to avoid dilemma. Or I can simply bring you something positive to the table and warn you of the ongoing problems that we're having. Instead, I have to reach out to my conscience once again as I watch the crime and the violence rise and the kids lose their innocence. Now the concept of forming a home day by day loses its essence. They don't want to hear that. Can't keep my arms crossed in front of the system. If I don't do something, I'm also part of the problem. As guilty as the one that pulls the trigger, like the person in the crowd that hits the record button on their phone to expose a lie instead of the truth for clout. They need 1,000 views. The government doesn't have a solution. The problem started when we took God out the equation. The problem ain't us celebrating. The problem is that we a nation divided when we should be a nation united and praying. That's how we live today. When problems occur, we come up with a meaning. Laugh a little, care in the world, as if it ain't even a thing in this world. If it's like this today, I don't want to see the future. Because nowadays, they'll make a meme out of a person that can't even see the day of light no more. What makes you think they care? They can't even break bread at the table. I don't know how you want to be rappers and lyricists can go on with life, living on an illusion with nothing good to write. Talking about killing someone, selling drugs with pride, until the scripts are flipped and it's someone you love dies. Right? This ain't solved by activating the National Guards and going behind bars. This is deep. This is me and you. And they say as time passed by, it will heal everything. Shit, you know these scars? I seen time flash by and everything. You get me on standby, ready to kill everything. Alone in the mirror, looking at myself, say, girl, you're everything. You don't need for anything, shorty. So unless you walk a mile in my shoes, don't say anything. Just take a minute and listen so you can consume everything. Me and you are not the same, so make sure you look both ways when you cross me, and that's on everything.
All right, y'all. Listen, we're going to move on to the next topic. We got 2 topics, all right, before we end this live. This one and one more, so let's talk about it. All right, because this topic right here is the definition of injustice. All right. An Oklahoma teen, Jesse Mack Butler, convicted of raping and assaulting teenage girls, sentenced to nearly 80 years. And somehow, right, he walks free. No prison time, no accountability, just a slap in the face. All right. So, it really is a slap in the face, all right, to survivors, and a reminder that the system bends when privilege pushes. This isn't rehabilitation. All right, this isn't mercy. This is corruption dressed up as justice. Families of the victims are outraged. Lawmakers are outraged. The entire college town of Stillwater is outraged. And they should be. Because when you let a rapist walk free, you're not just failing the victims, you're failing every child, all right, who looks to the system for protection. Butler wasn't just any teen. All right, he was a former high school baseball player, the son of a prominent local coach, tied to Oklahoma State University circles, and suddenly the rules don't apply. Suddenly, nearly 80 years of sentences evaporates into youthful offender. Statutes suddenly, the status suddenly grape conventions become a footnote instead of a prison term. Listen, justice will not be served until those who are unaffected are as outraged as those who are. Benjamin Franklin. All right? Like, this case proves that survivors have been screaming for decades. The system protects predators when they come from privilege. It protects reputations instead of bodies. It protects names instead of innocence. And every time it does, it builds caskets for the trust. All right? Like I've said earlier with the schools, all right? They need to stop sweeping grape under the rug. Stop pretending privilege is a defense. Stop letting predators walk free while survivors carry scars. Every time you do, you teach the next generation that violence is negotiable, that trauma is disposable, that justice is optional. That as survivors, like Maya Angelou says, we still rise. All right? And survivors survivors rise not just for themselves, but for every child who deserves safety. And we rise raw. Right? Listen, all this is coming from a survivor. All right? I'm not just speaking to speak. So let's take a look at this case. All right? And I'm going to finish giving y'all my commentary.
Charges of rape by instrumentation. 3 charges of rape by instrumentation, and you'll have to use your imagination about what that
I don't
means.
want to.
But yeah, it is literal. 1 count of sexual battery. 1 count of forcible oral sodomy. 2 counts of domestic assault and battery by strangulation. And 1 count of domestic assault and battery. And while there were even more and way bigger charges that the state likely could have thrown at this kid, like attempted murder, the 2 alleged victims and their families had every reason to believe that the wheels of justice were hard at work on this case, both for them and for the accused, Jesse Mack Butler. And before I tell you what ended up happening, let me tell you why he faced those specific charges, what he actually did to those 2 girls. You should know that these details are extremely graphic. They are despicable, but they are critical to this story, especially when you find out how the judge came down in this case. So fair warning, trigger warning, what I'm about to list out for you is very uncomfortable to say and to hear. A police affidavit says a girl who's identified only as LS because she's a minor dated Jesse Butler for about 3 months, starting in January of last year. She was 16 at the time. And during that time, the victim said Butler repeatedly raped and attempted to rape her and would strangle her if she refused. The teenage girl needed surgery to repair the damage done to her neck by the strangulation. And her doctor told her that she would have died had that strangulation lasted another 30 seconds. The girl said that she gave in to Jesse Mack Butler because he threatened to kill her and he threatened to kill her family if she didn't give in. A separate affidavit says in March of last year, Butler took up with another 16-year-old girl identified only as KS. And that relationship lasted 6 months, but this teenager also said that Butler was aggressive and violent with her and says she went along with all the unwanted sex to avoid being hurt further. This victim also said that one time when she did refuse, Butler strangled her too. But get this, he recorded himself strangling her until she passed out. And lest you think this might be just a he said, she said, police later found that video on Jesse Mack Butler's phone. So that's what we call evidence.
So even with the evidence, this mofo walks. Yo, and y'all wonder, listen, man, y'all, if y'all want yourselves a copy of this hoodie, man, hit a shorty up, all right, on the Instagram. And listen, get yourselves a hoodie, all right? We building caskets up in this joint. Let me see where they at. Nope, I'm looking for the overlay. Yep, grab yourselves up a little hoodie, all right? Because we building caskets up in this joint. My bad. Like, what in the world is going on, man? Like, all the proof, all the evidence, he still walks free. And this is what I'm saying. Like, some of these judges ain't shit, yo. Some of these, yo, listen, if the scripts were flipped, I'm telling you, this judge wouldn't have. But you know what? Some of them will sell their own kids for the money. Nate, baby. We got Nate the Great Podcast in the building. Make sure y'all go check him out. Great conversations, great topics. Yo, man. Let's finish listening to what she got to say so I can give the rest of my commentary, man. Like, this is wild.
Jesse Butler pleaded not guilty to everything, as was his right off the bat. But in the coming months, for reasons that I will not pretend tonight to understand, the DA's office struck a deal with Butler's lawyers to change his status from adult to youthful offender.
What?
The victim's families begged the DA, please do not do that. Please, no. But in July, a judge decided to sign off on this.
How the hell do you charge an 18-year-old as a minor? Nah, there's no way. Yo, some of these judges is corrupt themselves. Yo, this judge took the bribe. This judge took a bribe. Man, this judge ain't no better than what's her name that I did the live on? Judge Katanya Jackson. I forgot her name. Bull.
And in August, Jesse Mack Butler changed his plea from not guilty to no contest, meaning he knew there was ample evidence to convict him. And you should know that a conviction is the result of a no contest plea, right? That's what you get, convicted. By the way, I mentioned there were 10 counts before, but by August, there was one more. So the grand tally now stood at 11. The new count was for violating a protective order, which, oh my God, facing 10 felony counts and violating a protective order should have been a hell of a red flag for anybody, somebody. But the very same day that happened, Butler was sentenced to 78 years in prison, which sounds like a fitting punishment for somebody who nearly kills 2 teenage girls and rapes them repeatedly with all sorts of things.
That's fucked up.
But as a youthful offender, Jesse Mack Butler was also entitled to special treatment, like a rehabilitation plan, which was drawn up by the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs. And
by the way, rehabilitation for me doesn't work for them. In my opinion, okay? In my opinion.
Plan, which was drawn up by the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs. And that plan was presented to the court last week. This new punishment called for daily check-ins, weekly counseling, a curfew, no social media, and 150 hours of community service. Bam! They really brought down the hammer, huh? 150! Oh, that's like 3 weeks if you work really hard.
78 hours in prison would have been justice for the day. Yo, 78 years in prison would have been justice for the victim. This motherfucker walked away with a slap in the wrist.
This new plan is scheduled to stay in effect until Jesse Mack Butler turns 19. And that, my friends, is less than a year from now.
Wow.
So, wow. Long punishment.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get
News.
Yo, this shit is wild. This is wild. Listen. What in the world did I just listen to?
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Fair use allows limited use of copyrighted material without permission from the copyright holder for purposes such as criticism, parody, news reporting, research, and scholarships and teaching. Disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed on this video or any video, including the Writers for Life Brings You to Let's Talk About It podcast, do not reflects on the opinions of your shorty Racheal and the members of the Writer for Life podcast. Everything we talk about is allegedly and is our opinion. Our videos are not recommended for minors. Everything we talk about and do is meant for educational purposes and also entertainment. Please keep in mind that the majority of our videos are for educational purposes only. This world is crazy. I would say shady. Ironic, right? Nowadays, you can't trust no one. When you do, niggas be having their panties all in a bunch thinking that they own one. Saying the things that you accomplished in life is theirs and that you owe them one. Yo, listen. Am I still on the small screen?
Yeah, I'm supposed to get off of this because after I say this, we're gonna move on to the next topic, and that's the last topic. Like, listen. If someone did this to the judge's daughter, you think the outcome would be the same? Absolutely not. That's the hypocrisy, right? The hypocrisy of this so-called justice system. It bends when privileges pushes, all right? It breaks when victims cries. And it fails when accountability is supposed to rise. The justice system has utterly failed these victims. Yo, I'm holy shit. All right, a man convicted of multiple rapes, sentenced to nearly 80 years. Yo, you know how many victims like wish they could get their fucking predator behind bars that long? First time in years that I've heard that a judge was going to give someone 80 years. And boom, somehow he walks free. That's not justice. That's betrayal. That's not law. That's corruption. And the judge who signed off, all right, the judge who signed off on it, accessory to injustice. Disbarred is the least of what should happen. How is he, how in the world did how in the world did this judge charge this mofo as a minor when he's 18? That's not law. That's the loophole. This motherfucker took a bribe. That's not protection. That's privilege. All right. And let's be real. He's going to do it again because predators don't stop when the system rewards them. They repeat, they adapt, they hunt, and the judge who set him free should be held accountable for every future victim because these motherfuckers, all right, they don't change. All right, they adapt, listen, they learn, they get smarter. All right. What you think is like if they commit the next crime they gonna fight? No, it's not. This motherfucker knows already the loopholes what he can get away with. Come on, man. This is another example of a judge who needs to be disbarred and a DA who needs to be fired. Because justice isn't just about punishing the predator. It's about holding, how can I say it? It's about holding accountable the people who enabled them. And when judges and prosecutors protect predators, they become predators of justice themselves. All right? Like, we need to stop pretending that this is justice. Stop pretending privilege is a defense. All right? Stop letting predators walk free while survivors carry scars. Right? They carry scars because every time you do, you teach the next generation that violence is negotiable, that trauma is disposable, and justice is optional. It's crazy how, these predators get to walk free while innocents, sit here, right? Innocents, like, how can I say? The actual predators are walking these streets while the innocent men are behind bars. Y'all know that shit? I just want to take a minute and say this, right? Not y'all think that all the predators are on the list and not all of them are registered. You know what's fucked up? There are men on the list that didn't commit crimes. You see where that's the crazy part about this shit. There are men on the list that commit crimes, right? That didn't commit crimes, right? Like this, but they're on the list. While these motherfuckers walk free. And I'm sorry I'm cussing. If it offends anybody, look, listen, I apologize. But this right here, like, like for the past few years, I've been saying this. I say, why is it that these judges are being so lenient with these freaking offenders? What's her name? Katanya Jackson, I think is her name. She's one of them. She is really, really lenient. But this judge right here, he was going to give him 80 years and then, phew, out of nowhere, alakazam. The charges were dropped. Huh. This motherfucker took a bribe. He got bribed. Why do I say that? Earlier when I was describing the young bull, all right, 18 years old, yes, but he comes from a prestige family, son of a coach, ties to people, high up within the not community and out the community. This young lady didn't get no justice. I got a cut in my nose, and I don't know how the hell that happened. I feel it. It's hurting right here. Unless I'm getting a witch's pimple. But, yo, blessings. We got Anita Sweet in the building. Blessings, Anita. How you doing? It's been a minute, big sis. Yo, this is wild. Man, we're about to move on to the next story, yo. But before we will move on to the next story, I just want to say this to a lot of survivors out here, right? Especially the ones that, are just experiencing it, all right? Like, I want you to know that little by little, you're going to get your peace back, all right? Little by little, all right? Listen, you're not going to feel the way you feel now forever. All right, it's going to take time. It's going to take some counseling, maybe some therapy. You see, it's going to take the people that are around you that really care about you to support you and back you up. All right, but little by little, guess what? You're going to be able to wear your battle crown and stand straight. All right, walk with your head held high. And even though in the back of your head, the thoughts might still pop up from time to time, you'll be able to move on. All right, and create a family of your own.
In the shadow of my dreams, I was confined a prisoner of my own mind, hoping to find.
And that's a fact. All right, with with therapy, with counseling, through time, us survivors, all right, we become warriors. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. All right, it's gonna take a minute for this, young lady to get it together. All right, and she probably already got it together. She's probably already strong from the gate. We don't even know that. But it's messed up how we got these judges, all right, that are supposed to, sentence these predators behind bars for years, all right, so that, justice could be served. But in reality, they not doing it, all right. But with that being said, guys, we're going to move on to the next topic, all right. And listen, this topic right here is crazy, all right. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, shout out to everybody that be sending me these news clips, right? Listen, let's talk about it. All right. A man in North Harris County says he was kidnapped at gunpoint and forced into sex work. Yes, I said it. All right. 3 people are charged. Court docs laid out, and the question we're all asking is, what in the world is freaking going on? All right. This is not just a crime. This is a nightmare. Kidnapping, coercion, exploitation. This is slavery dressed up in, modern clothes. And the fact that it's happening in our communities right now should shake us to the core. These women are Cardi B-ing the shit out of these men. Like, yo, listen, we scream about freedom. We scream about safety. We scream about justice. But predators are still out here turning human beings into, how can I say, commodities, all right? Like, they're still out here weaponizing fear, weaponizing guns, weaponizing silence, and the system only reacts when the headlines hit. This is not just about one man. This is about a culture that normalizes exploitation, that shrugs at trafficking, that pretends sex workers or sex works, how can I say, sex work under duress is just another case. Nah. Like, this is violence. This is violation. This is modern day slavery. And women are doing it. Like, here's the truth, all right? Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. All right. MLK Jr. said that. If one person can be kidnapped and forced into sex, all right, forced into sex work, like, I'm trying to figure that one. I don't even want to think about it. Like, none of us are safe, all right? If one person's freedom can be stolen, then freedom itself is fragile. And it's crazy because, yeah, I said it. Like, you normally hear, kids and women, right, is the ones that go through sex trafficking. But shit, we need to stop sweeping shit under the rug, right? Stop pretending trafficking is someone else's problem. Stop acting like exploitation is just a headline. Because every time we ignore it, we build, caskets for freedom. And caskets are not what people deserve. Yo. Like, it's crazy because when you normally hear about this shit, it's more women than men. Like, these females got on some, I don't know, I guess they dressed all in black with masks and shit. They pulled out guns. Like, this man, yo. Yes, I'm still, I'm a little in shock, too, about it. Like, these men's story is proof that predators don't care about gender, age, or circumstances. Like, they care about control. They care about profit. They care about silence. And if we don't stand up, we don't demand accountability, we don't protect each other, then silence becomes complicity, all right? And let me just say this, all right? Shit, still, we rise, all right? And survivors rise not just for themselves, but for every person who deserves safety. Real shit. Like, as crazy as it sounds, men can go through the same thing as women too, right? Like Cardi B used to drug men, all right, just to, sit here and steal from them. These women, all right, dressed up as killers, all right, or ninja assassins, sat here and kidnapped a man and forced him into the sex work, according to, court docs. So let's listen to the story.
Tonight, a man says two women kidnapped him at gunpoint and forced him into sex work.
Court records backing up the victim's story, and he's sharing it only on 13. ABC 13's Luke Jones is live at the Harris County Jail detailing those 6 days of terror, Luke.
Yeah, and what a terror it was. So far, the only charges are aggravated kidnapping, but this man says in reality, he was really the victim of sex trafficking. Masterminded, he says, by a woman who called herself Cookie, operating out of a North Harris County motel.
By a woman what? By a woman named Cookie? Oh my God. And the cookie crumbles. Ain't that some shit? Wait the fuck minute. What the fuck? A woman named Cookie. Yo, wait a minute. The cookie crumbles. Like, what the fuck? This bitch thought she was like Cookie, like from Empire? Oh shit.
The victim of sex trafficking. Masterminded, he says, by a woman who called herself Cookie, operating out of a North Harris County motel.
Like, it was really ghetto. It was scary.
A young man who still shudders when he thinks about all he endured.
He was young. That's fucked up.
For almost a week, he says he was held captive in a room at the Regency Inn on Cypress Station near FM 1960. Forced, he says, to have sex for money. We're blurring his face to protect his privacy.
It was a lot of crackheads, like a lot of them, like a lot of sketchy homeless people.
A life, he says, he never imagined for himself. One the Harris County Sheriff's Office says he was sucked into October 18th. That's when they say one of the victim's friends, Esmeralda Pena, invited him to the Regency.
She said that she had a job for me. Like, she was going to help me make some money.
So he got lured. All right, so that was his friend, and she said she had a job for him. And I'm guessing he needed the money, so he went. That's some fucked up. She set him up. That's a setup.
Job.
Once here, he says he was introduced to this woman, Urbanique Forrest. Although when they met, he says she went by a different name.
Her name was Cookie.
Cookie, he says, quickly set about signing him up for an escort site and told him he'd have to have sex with men for money. The next day, he says he saw an opportunity to escape and returned home. But just 4 hours later, deputies say a doorbell camera shows Pena and Forrest at the victim's front door, this time with an armed man. Investigators say they and Nixon Simmons forced him into a car at gunpoint.
Cookie started beating me. And
What the fuck is going on, yo? Hold up, wait a minute. Whoa, 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 whoa. This chick really thinks she Cookie from Empire. Yo, what in the... You know what? Let's listen a little more. Like, that's some fucked up shit. And they did this to some young boy. Like, let this have been somebody that's a little huskier, a little taller, a little older, with some more, like this shit, yo, with some more common sense. I'm telling you, they wouldn't have gotten away with this shit. This is crazy. They know what they doing, yo. They know what the fuck they doing.
Say they and Nixon Simmons forced him into a car at gunpoint.
Cookie started beating me, and she was like, "Don't I ever leave again? Like, if I ever leave, like, she'll blow my brains out."
For the next 6 days, he says he was beaten, plied with drugs, and deprived of food. At night, he says he was expected to solicit men in this Ross parking lot, although he says he only ever slept with one.
I knew that if I made them money, they would keep making me work for them. They would keep me around. So I just tried not to sleep with anybody.
Even so, he says the experience left him drained, and at one point, hoping Forrest would make good on an earlier threat.
Like a couple of days in, I kind of wanted her to kill me. Like I told her
Wow,
to kill
that's
me.
fucked
Like
up.
just get it over with.
In the end, he says it was his aunt who saved him. October 24th, he says he was able to text her using a phone he'd hidden from his captors, and that she picked him up during one of those nights out in the Ross parking lot.
I was just like, yeah, this is not a good place to be at.
And the victim says he was.
Wait a minute. What? How long did he have the phone? I mean, if this story is true, it's fucked up. But he said he picked up the phone from his captors. They didn't notice the phone was missing. I need a little more details on this story. Something's missing.
He wasn't the only one forced to do this.
Something's missing.
Me around. So I just tried not to sleep with anybody.
Even so, he says the experience left him drained, and at one point, hoping Forrest would make good on an earlier threat.
Like a couple of days in, I kind of wanted her to kill me. Like I told her to kill me. Like just get it over with.
In the end, he says it was his aunt who saved him. October 24th, he says he was able to text her using a phone he'd hidden from his captors, and that she picked him up during one of those nights out in the Ross parking lot.
I was just like, yeah, this is not a good place to be at.
And the victim says he wasn't the only one forced to do this. One of the suspects, Esmeralda Pena, also beaten and made to walk the streets, he says. Right now, this case still under active investigation. Live downtown, Luke Jones, ABC 13, Eyewitness News.
Yo, I'm not gonna sit here and lie. This is wild, alright? Like, listen. Please charge these women. Like, please charge and treat these women the same as if they were men committing this crime. Because exploitation doesn't change its name depending on who does it. Kidnapping is kidnapping. Sexual assault is sexual assault. Trafficking is trafficking, and justice should not bend when the predator is a woman instead of a man. Like, on some real shit, man. It ain't believe all women. Not over here. Like, if y'all think that this panel, because I'm a woman, is believe all women, y'all got it fucked up over here.
In this world of blame and shame, we point fingers, we play the game. But as our children cry in fear, we turn the blind eye, we shed no tears. Believe our women, they say, while our kids are led astray. Lost in darkness, lost in pain, yet their cries fall silent like the rain. It's a shame how far we've come, blaming all the men playing dumb. But our children need us near to wipe their tears and calm their fears. In this land of the free, water's a commodity for you and me. Can't you see? It's not fair, it's plain to see. People struggling to pay for something they need every day. In America where we say we're free, but water shouldn't come at a fee. A shorty just speaking in general about the things that seem so small. This ain't meant towards everyone, just a cry in the dark. In America where water is marked. Brothers and sisters, hear my plea. This is not about you or me. Our kids are the future, they hold the key. Wake up before we're met with defeat. In this world of chaos and strife, we must guide them to a better life. Teach them love, compassion, and light, so they can lead us out of this endless night. Let's unite as one strong force. For our children, let's stay on course. Together we can make a change and secure a better future in exchange. Y'all should have listened the first time they let the cat out the hat. Now it's a crime. Many are falling into a trap, thinking it's a game, but they full of cap. Some are ready and fully strapped, while others keep falling into the gap. The warning signs were clear as day, but some chose not to heed what they say. Now the consequences come to light. Those who ignored are in for a fight. Listen close and learn from this mishap. Don't be caught unaware, don't fall into the trap. From the wisdom of my elders, I learned women are strong, independent, and firm. But sometimes we need a helping hand to conquer challenges and make a stand. Independence is crucial, that's true. Yet together with a man we can pursue. Respect yourself first and foremost, so others will treat you like the most. Ladies growing up, remember this advice. You're capable of anything you devise, but partnership and respect go hand in hand. Embrace your strength and make a stand. Memories of the past I couldn't see, now I understand. The wisdom they gave me, respect yourself first, that's the key. To earn respect from others is how it should be. A man's worth measured by how he treats his queen. Love and romance in the air, a beautiful scene. A woman's power to uplift or demean. In her hands lies a man's dream. Lessons learned from an OG so true. In matters of the heart, they know what to do. Love and respect intertwined like glue. In a world where old-fashioned values still ring through. Peter Pan, Peter Pan. Peter Pan was a fairy tale. Now males want to be females without fail. Women want to be a man. It's a twisted tale. Flipping scripts and roles, they set sail. Fighting for roles, turning to moles. Making hits with their agenda goals. Targeting our kids, it takes a toll. To them it's a bliss, to us it's a black hole. They ain't trying to miss. Their agenda is the ultimate twist. Infiltrating young minds with their list, but we won't let them persist. I'm with women's rights, but what about men's too? Equality for all, it's long overdue. We want progress, we need to see both sides. Blame and shame won't help us unite. Don't label him a deadbeat without looking in the mirror. Sometimes it takes two to create rupture. Let's have conversations that include everyone. Empathy and understanding, the battles can be won. Men face struggles too, let's not forget. Their mental health matters, let's not neglect. It's time to break down walls and build bridges instead. Together we can strive for equality ahead. You scream for the police every time he come around, then scream child support.
And that's a fact. All right, men's mental health matters too. All right, like no one deserves to be sexually assaulted or exploited. Not women, not men, not children, not anyone. And yet here we are. All right, a man kidnapped at gunpoint, forced into sex work, and the headlines read like comedy. Reporters cracking jokes, society shrugging, people laughing at trauma. These reporters got jokes, but survivors don't, they really don't. Survivors carry scars. Like, my bad, they carry scars. Survivors carry nightmares. Survivors carry silence, all right, that eats them alive. When women commit these crimes, suddenly the tone shifts. Suddenly it's shocking, bizarre, unbelievable. But if men did it, we'd be screaming for, life sentence. Justice isn't gendered, all right? Accountability isn't gendered. Protection isn't gendered. And predators don't deserve a pass because of who they are, all right? This man deserves therapy. He deserves justice. He deserves to be seen as a survivor, not a punchline. Exploitation doesn't, discriminate, and neither should justice. Like, listen. Once again, we live in a world where children are, how can I say, cornered in fear. Survivors are laughed at. Predators are protected, and justice is negotiable like a business deal. And I'm here to say enough. Enough of the, of the word salad. Enough of the loopholes. Enough of the, cover-ups. Because this time, how can I say? Because every time we excuse violence, we build caskets for innocence. All right? Yes, the world is a dangerous place, but not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. All right. And with that being said, I'm going to end this live. All right. Because I don't think nobody's going to hit the link. I'm not even sure if anybody's on this, John. Nope. Nobody's on this, John. So I am definitely going to end this, John. And I'm going to see y'all on the next live. All right, guys.
Yeah, we living in a world where the rules don't apply. They say we gotta follow, or we ready to fly. System got us boxed in, trying to keep us small. But we rise like the phoenix, we ain't scared to brawl.
They feeding us lies, but we secretive smoke. We're the voice of the people, we're ready to provoke. They want us to divide, but we're stronger as one. Breaking chains, sticking names, yeah, we getting it done. It's us versus the system, we're breaking the mold. Fist in the air, yeah, we taking control. No more silence, no more fear. Together we rise, let them know we're here. Riders ignite. In the world of division, they showed us how to share. But the weight of our sorrows, they never taught us to bear. We split our joys and laughter, but the pain remained untold. A burden we carry alone, a story left untold. They taught us to split everything, but not the heavy pain. It lingers in the shadows, a darkness we can't explain. We're left with shattered pieces, trying to mend what's lost. They taught us how to split everything, but not the heavy cost. We learned to divide our dreams and multiply our fears. But the ache in our hearts only grew with passing years. They gave us all the answers, except how to heal. The scars that run so deep, wounds that time can't see. Yeah, they taught us how to share, but only the good. Smiles and laughter like we understood. But deep down inside, there's a storm we hide. Pain in our hearts, we're just trying to ride. Put on a mask, yeah, we play the part, but nobody sees the cracks in the hearts. We share our dreams, the highs and the lows, but when it comes to hurt, we just close the doors. We share the fun times, deflect the pain, laughing in the sunshine, dancing in the rain. But the shadows linger, they creep and they crawl, breaking us down, but we don't share at all. We got hate in our heart, but we could conceal. Taught to share the joy, but wounds, they stay unhealed. They say love was easy to divide, but the heartache never subsides. We tried to split everything into two, but the pain lingers strong and true. Shared our dreams, divided our fears, but the sorrow remained through the years. No matter how we tried to let go, the weight of our suffering continued to grow. Now we're apart trying to heal, but some wounds are too deep to conceal. They said splitting up will set us free, yet the pain lingers in you and me. In a world where rules are set in stone, the system's grip tight.